Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Johnny Hill producing as always. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A ton to get to. It's one of those weird days where it doesn't seem like there's a ton of like big breaking news like out there that's like, we gotta talk about this to start the show. But there's a lot of like little things that all together just make it a very newsy day, at least in my opinion. But like I said, Bryant and Brett with you. Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well, Brian. It's the perfect definition of 6 to 1, half dozen to another.
That's right.
I mean, a little adds up to a lot on this day, and maybe by the end of this day we could have a bigger story, one that everybody's been seeing coming, and that's Jim Harbaugh to probably the Chargers in the NFL. I think if it's announced he's going anywhere today, it would be with the Chargers, but maybe not. And he's been very coy and kind of played hard to get the last few years. I do think he is having, it just feels like he's having a tough time leaving a place I think he really loves.
Yeah.
And grew up there, and this year the full circle of winning it as a head coach there. Didn't win it as a player, but was on mighty good teams there. Also at 5 o'clock today, and Brian, we get it every year during this time, don't we?
Yep.
We get the first bite of the apple.
Sure do.
Of the Baseball Hall of Fame announcement, and every year it creates a lot of stuff, and it will this year. Look, we know who's not getting in, and we know I think it's a travesty that a lot of those names aren't getting in and may never, probably won't ever. And how people feel on that, it did not bother me. It does not bother me, and I think they should be in.
I agree.
And every year at this time, the Puritans, the without flawed humans, especially those voters that truly think they are Gabriel blowing his horn and allowing people into the pearly gates of heaven with their Hall of Fame votes, and they take such a high stand on everything. Boy, I would really like to examine some of them's real lives and just see if they're that perfect. But anyway, they got that vote and they love it. There is no sporting vote more sacred and more hallowed, especially to those voters, than the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, it's something, and I always think about it because there's some AP voters, whether it's college football or college basketball, that they'll like to put out their how they did, and I'm fine with that, whatever. But the way that the Hall of Fame voters in baseball present their ballot after they've put it in, and how they post it, and some people will write 2,000 words on why they picked this person.
It's Substack.
Exactly, and it's just.
I still don't really know what it is, Substack.
It's what can I compare it to? It's just basically you could subscribe and you can go on there and write or post things or whatever, and people can subscribe to it.
I've never read a word of Substack.
I don't think I have either. Maybe I've come across like a free Substack that I've been on, but I haven't been on many Substacks.
But there will be. Now I've got some Heisman Trophy brethren that thinks they're holding the keys to. Maybe a special room at the pearly gates, but not full admission,
right?
Like the Baseball Hall of Famers. We'll have that, and who's in, who's out, the snubs, who's close. Is it 75% or 70? You have to get 75% vote.
It's 75.
And after last year, Brian, I'm still stunned Scott Rowland's in Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, and last year when we got that, I was the lone defender here of Scott Rowland getting in. Defensively, I mean, one of the best defensive players you could find. But
and you made a good case, and a lot of times I think defense gets forgotten. There are a couple of guys that are in there really only because of their defense. Yeah. Bill Mazeroski had a very famous home run, but it was one home run. I think Richie Ashburn largely was in just because of his defense. You could make the case for Louis Aparicio. Some would, I think, misguidedly say Ozzie Smith, but he ended up cobbling together being almost 2,500 career career hits and a really good batsman, really good hit behind the runner, sacrificing, things like that. But, Brooks Robinson was so much more than defense.
Sure.
But Adrian Beltre, he'll get in unanimously, and I think should and could push for highest percentage vote of any third baseman ever that I think is held by George Brett, like at 97.2. Who in the world didn't vote for George Brett? And are you proud of that?
There's somebody out there that's proud of it, Brett.
There's 2.8% that didn't.
But there's somebody that has it like in their Twitter bio, like did not vote.
Oh, you're right. You're right. There's somebody
just flexing it as much as they can.
Yeah, there's somebody. Jersey pops over. I didn't vote for George Brett. I didn't vote for Willie Mays. Those people.
Really.
Here's the defensive guy that I don't. He's not going to get in. I don't think he's ever going to get in. I think Omar Vizquel should really merit a little more consideration, and he may get in next year. And he was more than just defense. Chase Utley.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, and that's a name I've seen a lot of people talking about for this year. I'm excited for it. I always like the Baseball Hall of Fame and seeing who gets in, and just a couple more hours, and we'll be able to talk about who's in and who's out.
We know Jimmy Leland's in. Already announced, and fine by that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. So 5 o'clock. I kind of forgot it was today. But now,
but if there was a Hall of Good before this time last year, if there had been a Hall of Good, I think Scott Rowland would be at the top of that.
Oh, certainly. I mean, he would be the first plaque you'd see walking in.
But now there's no Hall of Good; it's Hall of Fame.
Cooperstown. How about that?
And you're already hearing this about in the NFL discussions on some of these quarterbacks that someday I think Josh Allen goes to the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
But his room will be different, Patrick Mahomes. There's just one room.
Yeah.
You're either in or you're not.
You're either in the Hall of Fame or you're not in the Hall of Fame.
Gold jacket means you're in. Without one, it means you're out.
Yes. That is one argument I hate, and that's it really in every sport. So, okay, well, they should be in the Hall of Fame, but they shouldn't be with, this guy or that guy or that. No, I mean, they're in. I mean,
if you get in Augusta National, you got full membership.
That's right. So that's a conversation everyone has for every Hall of Fame, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. I saw the College Baseball Hall of Fame's moving to like somewhere in Missouri. I don't know where it's been.
There's a College Baseball Hall of Fame?
Brett, I learned it today. I learned they're moving to like somewhere right outside.
Is that what you learned today? That's good. You got that out of the way quick.
I got what I learned today. How about that? No, and for some reason, like Patrick Mahomes like played a key role of like moving it. I don't know. Very, very strange.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes loves his college baseball. So,
Dad was a really good player.
Yeah. So, a lot of Hall of Fame talk today.
I love the TV ratings news from the playoffs, and the big catch line, the big headline today was, and it's just whopping. It's incredible. $50 million for Kansas City, Buffalo.
Crazy.
And you think of those two markets, and we went over market sizes last week, and there are just a lot of markets a lot bigger than Kansas City and Buffalo, and they drew $50 million. But inside some ratings news today, I think I may have found the topper of my life.
Really? Oh, of your life?
Of my life. Wow. Certainly the topper of any ratings news anytime soon. So you remember a couple Sundays ago when they couldn't play the game in Buffalo because of the extreme weather.
Right.
So it left, I think it was CBS carrying that game. It left, they had to fill that Sunday afternoon. So they ran a replay of a game, a playoff game from last year.
Okay.
It drew 4.5 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we know what game it was? Do we know who was playing in that game?
I don't know. I want to say Buffalo and Kansas City is what they showed.
Interesting.
I'm not sure.
That's
but
crazy.
It drew 4.5 million.
A replay in just on a Sunday afternoon.
You don't think we're conditioned to have our TVs on football on Saturdays and Sundays, and particularly Sunday afternoon in January?
That's incredible.
It really is, and along those lines, this was the next day. The Grizzlies played on TNT on MLK Day. A lot of publicity, primo time, 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock in the East, 3 o'clock West Coast playing Golden State.
That's right.
You know, a real TV team, and the Bay Area and all that. Drew about 500,000 people, 500,000 viewers.
Wow.
A replay drew 4 million more.
Wow. On a Sunday afternoon, no less.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Wow. Mind-blowing.
I mean, I'm speechless, which is not good for radio, but
So,
I literally am.
so maybe shouldn't the networks, and I don't know what kind of deal they have, and you know, if I'm sure they do. You think they own it, but if would the NFL sign off on it, why wouldn't you run that on Saturdays during the summer?
That's good point. I mean, just throw it up there, throw replays up there. If you're going to get that, I mean, why not?
Now I don't know if they can. I don't know if there's
I have no idea how.
You know, a shelf life of how long it's theirs.
The
per
TV
se.
world is one world that I am not any familiar.
Nor am I,
with.
but I thought people would be blown away.
Crazy.
But the most blown away I've been today.
Okay.
The quotes from last night at the coaching show.
Yes.
Coach Penny Hardaway. We'll talk with Dave about it. We'll talk a lot about it today. And for clarity's sake, Jason Munns had the story, and the Daily Memphian beat person, Parth had the story as well. And so this ran out over the air, too.
Yes.
I assume on the Monday Night Coaches show. Over at Brookhaven, right?
Yeah, from what I understand, yes, this happened during. I did not listen to the radio.
So there's just no way that two reporters would get that quote.
And both report. I
mean,
wrong. We talk to Jason every Friday.
Right.
He's unbelievable.
He's not
job.
getting it wrong.
Parth is also unbelievable at his job. We have two great beat reporters here in Memphis. Both of them would not misquote a coach for sure.
For Penny Hardaway to say he gave his veteran players basically the first 3 months off. I've never heard a coach say that.
It's crazy.
I've never heard a coach say, except for maybe around the holidays, in a day and a half or two.
Where they give them that week off and say, go home, see your family.
Or from graduation to Memorial Weekend.
Yeah.
But 3 months, you don't get 3 months off in a college world anytime, much less in season.
No, it's crazy, and Brett, you know,
stunning admission.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and we were talking about it, you know, off air, but just the fact that, you know, Penny Hardaway is talking about the conference and how his players, you know, don't respect the conference when he was the first one. I mean, we remember before the season started where he said the non-conference is our season. We are not worried about the conference slate because it's going to be slop, but based on what we're playing in non-conference.
I have a screenshot saved of an October 30th tweet of Jason Munns, Tigers beat writer, regular guest on these airwaves, of Penny Hardaway in quotations saying the non-conference portion is the most important part of our season.
Yep.
So if anybody got any vibe of not respecting any conference member, and he said his players, a lot of his transfer players didn't respect this conference. He didn't respect this conference.
No, he didn't respect it. And when you have all of these transfers that are coming in, and your two, I would say everyone would probably agree, your two best players right now are David Jones and Quinterly, Javon Quinterly. Javon Quinterly came from Alabama in the SEC, and David Jones came from St. John's in the Big East. So when they've been playing UConn and all the teams in the Big East, and Quinterly's playing Kentucky and Florida and all the teams in the SEC, and then they come here and their head coach is saying, well, the non-conference is really the important part because, you know, we're in the American
and take 3 months off.
And take 3 months off. How are they supposed to respect the conference? I mean, they're not going to respect the conference at all.
Just incredible. If Penny Hardaway, any AD out there should call him in and go, don't give anybody 3 months off again in season ever again.
No. And you know, he did say that this week they were gonna get back to what practices should be.
Now we're gonna get tough.
Now we're gonna get tough. That's right. This is gonna be the tough.
On January 23rd.
After back-to-back losses. It took, you know, 2 back-to-back losses and a couple awful games in conference play to straighten that out. Right?
And I guarantee you, I can without any trouble, I can find quotes around the trip to the Dominican Republic about how hard they were working.
Yes.
And no time off, no relaxation. Everybody get locked in.
Yep, locked in, and these guys that they had to focus on getting the chemistry right, and the chemistry was already building, and look out, and now we're gonna get tough.
Now we're here.
Now we're here, and a week off, and hopefully, and I saw Andy Kennedy also, I'm guessing, also had his coaches show last night and was telling people to come out and make it a raucous environment for Memphis UAB. UAB's going to be ready, and Andy Kennedy's going to be ready for that game, and so Tigers are going to have to bring it on Sunday.
Yeah, it's big for UAB. They're just happy to be out of CUSA.
That's right. I mean, they're happy to be in a better conference. I mean, the CUSA and the American, I mean, those teams think that it's a step up for sure. So it's going to be an interesting week for them as they've got the weekdays off in terms of games before getting back to action.
Good Grizzlies win last night. Great Grizzlies
win. Really good. On the road against Toronto. We'll talk about that later.
Taylor Jenkins now at 195 wins. And he trails for first in team history. Lionel Hollins is at 214. I don't know if he can. Wow. I don't think he can tie. I know he can't tie him this year, but he can very early part of next year. And I would have thought he would have broken through it easily this year, but with the disaster this year that it became.
Yeah, this year has certainly changed, but a really good win for those young guys last night in Toronto. Well, let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Dave Voloshin, the voice of the Tigers. He'll join us. We'll talk about these back-to-back losses for the Tigers this week off, what Penny Hardaway said last night during his coach's show. We'll get to all of that in our next segment with Dave. 3:45, we'll talk more about the Grizzlies and their win last night over the Raptors. 4 o'clock, Brent Beer from First Coast News down in Jacksonville will join us, talk college football. A lot of college football news out there this week with some of the potential changes, especially at Michigan. 4:30, we'll get into the NFL as we're now to the conference championship games. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant will join us. We'll talk more NFL with him. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, as always, we're sitting in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. And get over there for the floor model sale. All floor model patio sets are priced to move. Wicker sofa set, under $2,000. Closeout patio cushions, as low as $25. Pool tables, under $1,500. Theater seating, under $2,000. And 4-person hot tubs, now under $5,000. Infrared and traditional steam saunas are now 25% off. Get ready for summer and purchase your above-ground pool now to get first in line for installation. Special financing, it's also available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Johnny Hill producing for us. We're Bryant and Brett. We're Sports Time, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show. You can text or call at 901-360-8255. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Call them at 901-334-9673. You can drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, Brett, my top story is something that we don't really talk about on this show, but it was big news this morning, and I think it has a much bigger impact for the sports world. This morning, it was announced that Netflix will stream WWE's Raw starting next year in 2025 in a $5 billion deal. You might wonder, why is wrestling a top story? We don't really ever talk about wrestling on this show. And
because it's not a sport.
You would be right, yes, but I think this is huge because it really has nothing to do with WWE or wrestling itself. It means so much more for the future of watching sports.
Good point.
WWE, when you look at ratings and viewership, it's so huge, it's so big. This fan base that tunes in for WWE on a weekly basis is massive. And this move, it's not adjacent to live television. This isn't just something, if you don't have cable, you can go on and now watch it on Netflix. This is completely abandoning linear television entirely. And I know plenty of people have been talking about how unhappy they were and how difficult it was now 2 weekends ago when we had a Peacock exclusive game for Super Wildcard Weekend. But this move might indicate that there's more mainstream movement to streaming coming in the very near future for sports that we all watch. We've already
This
seen
is
it.
what's going to make me stream is the wrestling on the Netflix.
Brett, it might be, but Netflix has been very eager for.
If they bring back Rough House Fargo, I'll sign up.
All right, look, I'll try to work some connections and get them to do it. But no, Netflix has been really wanting to get out there in the live entertainment platform. They've talked about doing sports before, but this deal for them is really the first kind of consistent live product that they're going to have. I now think with Peacock doing what they did with the Super Wildcard game, now this move for Netflix, it looks like a lot of networks and streaming services are seeing this as very profitable, and that we could see it going very soon. Because when we're talking about all of the streaming services out there, Brett, and believe me, I'm subscribed to all of them. All of them can't survive, and so when you talk about getting live sports, it's a huge play for
live
these services.
Live entertainment.
But Brett, this isn't about WWE.
I got
Because
you.
this is going to go to sports, and before we know it, we're going to see a lot of live sports doing streaming only.
Yeah, you will. Boy, Lance and Dave were ahead of their time, standing in front of the desk at 1960 Union doing the wrestling, weren't they?
Sure were. They were.
And nothing better than on Saturday when Dave Brown would go, Lance, I think he has a chain, and then on Monday night give us the 5, 7, and 10-day forecast.
That's beautiful. I mean, what more do you want, Brett?
The most trusted man in town thought a grown man had a chain, whooping another one with it. My top story of the day, the big men ruled the earth last night in the NBA, didn't they? 70 for Joel Embiid. Only 2 threes, and the third 7-footer to go over 70. Wilt Chamberlain and David Robinson, the other 2. Karl Anthony Towns was close. He had 62 in a loss, and then their coach, Chris Finch, and I loved it, properly ripped his team. And when he was saying those things last night about immature, have you ever heard Taylor Jenkins get on the Grizzlies like this?
I have not.
Chris Finch did it in a year that they can win it all. Certainly can be the 1 seed in the West, and he got on them really hard last night. You think about right now in town between Taylor Jenkins and Penny Hardaway, we may have the 2 nicest coaches in college in NBA basketball.
We really might. It's close.
One gives his team 3 months off, and the other one never rips his team like that.
Well, that is true.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. It's being reporting they are in striking distance of getting a deal done. It sounds like, we've been talking about this for months. Will he?
This is
won't
agent
he?
talk, trying to get a bidding war.
What? I mean, Brett, I don't blame him. I mean, I think this is a great play for him. See what Michigan can offer now. Do they, get up to the table and offer something that Jim Harbaugh can't refuse? It sounds like we could be close, and maybe by the end of the day today or tomorrow, we could get news one way or the other if Jim Harbaugh decides to stay and run it back at Michigan, or if he makes the jump that I think a lot of people have been thinking will happen and go to the NFL and take over a Chargers team that really, when you look at the players, have some really nice pieces, just need that head coach to kind of lead them in the right direction.
My not top story, the Tiger basketball team with the week with no games, but maybe the most important week of the Penny years. Out of this break, this season will be defined. We talked yesterday about the fork in the road after 182 games, like John Calipari, after Josh after 182. These 6 years will really be defined by basically these next 6 weeks. Will he get to the second weekend? And that would mean 2 wins, and everybody would be good to go with that. It would back off everybody. You'd have no room to say a word of real criticism. But if they're out before that, or the unimaginable happen and no tournament, then that should inspire a whole different conversation.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, missed tournament would, there would be a lot of different conversations than what we're having right now. Because I think now everyone's saying, well, you hit this fork in the road, but everyone's still projecting tournament time for the Tigers.
We even tried to talk about South Florida being a one-off.
We did, and then that turned into back-to-back games and 2 straight losses. It's going to be, we talked about yesterday, this is the fork in the road for the Tigers. I'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more Tigers. Dave Lotion, the voice of the Tigers, he joins us next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year, it's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats. All shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. We've also got lab-grown diamonds of the highest quality at prices way below what you see at other jewelers. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge, fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2024 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33,010, Telluride RG 4628-22, MSRP 38,705, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license, see dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, Happy New Year, dude. Hey, what's happening over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Let's start the new year off right in your new Kia with 41 MPG Highway 2024 Kia Forte LXS $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Got a big family? Get a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Plus a 2024 Kia Telluride LX $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36 months lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And stop by and see the all-new EV9 all-electric SUV. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMTMoriah.com.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg at East Memphis Ace. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched, authentic wood-fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get your Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of South White Station and Quince Road.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We saw some flashing lights over there a few minutes ago on 40 eastbound between Hollywood and Warford. It's had traffic sluggo with a lot of rubbernecking going on. They're calling it police activity. Again, it's been a little bit slow over there on 40 east between Hollywood and Warford. 40 westbound in Fayette County around the 35-mile marker. I can see a delay out there right now. That's slowing down traffic coming in from Fayette County towards Shelby County. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. They're online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Let's welcome longtime voice of the Tigers and host of Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings at 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Dave Woloshin to talk Tigers football and basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, joins us now to talk some Tiger basketball. And Dave, since the last time we talked to you, the Tigers have now dropped 2 straight games, the first one being a home game where fans were told not to come because of all of the weather. Tigers dropped that one against USF. Then on Sunday on the road in Tulane, where they've really struggled, they lose again. Now back-to-back losses in conference play. What have you made of these last 2 games for Penny Hardaway and his team?
Well, that's why we love sports. You see something every day that's different. I have never in my entire career seen a release like the U of M did to the email on the night of the USF game where they were going, look, guys, we're playing the game, but don't come because the roads were tough. And then the game got tough. You had a 20-point lead in the second half. It was early in the second half, but really that's about as bad as I've seen this Memphis team play. Maybe the first half of the Villanova game was similar, but that was against a team that is more quality than USF. That was a bad loss, and maybe some of that carried over. Penny opened up the door after the loss to USF that there were chemistry issues. He told me before the game in Tulane, a team which is a much better team, by the way, than USF, a team that was picked third in the league, a team that has underachieved, I think, until they played the Tigers. That played FAU pretty well, too. Probably should have won that game, and then there was an interesting call at the end that cost them the game. But the chemistry issues in the USF game maybe have carried over a little bit toward the end of that game. Certainly we are finding that this team has a flaw. This team's flaw is the ability to defend, particularly against the 3. It cost them against USF, and it really cost them in the game against Tulane. I hate to say it, but the best player for scoring, David Jones, decided to go for a steal. It left Zion James, a good three-point shooter, wide open in the corner, and he hit the go-ahead 3 that the Tigers could never, again, recapture the lead. And there's 2 in a row. And I was really afraid, honestly, that Memphis was going to fall out of the top 20 to be 19, to be, I think Mike DeCourcy has him 6 in bracketology. I believe Jerry Palm had him as a 7 in bracketology, to still be there, and the ability to build up a little bit. You got 2 with FAU. You got 1 with SMU. Charlotte and North Texas are better. You have opportunities still, if you get back to winning ways, to regain. I don't know if you'll get to 2 or 3 as a seed, but you can get better than the 7 or the 6 that they're in right now.
Yeah, 12 games left, 6 on the road and 6 at home, and a week off that a lot needs to be re-examined before starting the first of that final 6 on the road Sunday at UAB against Andy Kennedy and the Blazers. You mentioned a first with that release, and it was stunning to see, but it's very rare. The admonition is to stay away. It's too treacherous to go to the game. But Dave, today, these quotes from last night at the coaching show I gave my veteran players 3 months off, when the mantra around a lot of buildings, a lot of the bracelets that are worn, a lot of the signage, a lot of the imagery is no days off. And the head coach saying he gave his team 3 months off is shocking.
Well, I think it's rhetoric, right? To be honest with you. Penny's pretty calculating. I mean, they're in pretty good shape. They did win 10 in a row. They got off to a 15-2 start. They beat in consecutive order at A&M, a Clemson team that's pretty good, and they blew out Virginia. So they were in shape. They were ready to play. I think if we're really being honest about this team, there is a flaw. There's a defensive flaw, in particular, as I mentioned, against threes, and they just, for whatever reason, they have not embraced a defensive philosophy that Penny has always had with all his teams, turning people over, really playing hard on that side of the ball. And maybe that is because this collection of players from the portal, and they're all brand new, with the exception of Jaden Hardaway and Malcolm Dandridge, they were all scorers. They don't have that defensive mentality that he had hoped that they would develop. Maybe he is going to be able to change that. I hope so. I don't know if you can, if they are, like he says, where they're all scorers and they can't seem to figure this out. And the other thing is inconsistent play at the point guard. That's the most important position in my mind on a college basketball team. And when Quinterly is really good, the Tigers are almost impossible to beat. When Quinterly is average or below, and he was really below average, I think, in the Tulane game, then the Tigers have a problem. Those are the flaws, and that's really what they've got to work on. You know, he's had these sort of admissions, you know, midway through his season before. Remember 2 years ago, he got mad when he was asked a question by Jeff Calkins. Then the next year there was something he sort of, at about this time, planted something out there, and I can't really remember what it is, but it was something along the sort of the same nature about playing together and accepting roles. And I just think this has sort of become around this time an annual thing where he tries to get in their head to get them better.
Well, you're right. There has been a lot of drama through now into the 6th January of Penny Hardaway coaching, but it even led into that tournament loss last year when Kendrick Davis wanted to go at it with his teammates with 5 or 6 minutes remaining in the biggest game of the year. So it wasn't stopped last year. It reared its ugly head at the worst time of the year. I'm scared this is a ticking bomb.
I hope not. I really do. Yeah, that was KD and that was Malcolm. That was Malcolm Dandridge at the end. It was later in the game than 5 minutes, as I recall. But it certainly was a bad look. And then the Tigers lost the game, a game they should have won, and it was really Kendrick Davis who should have won the game. And, you know, he, for whatever reason, I think part of it was injury, but, you know, he's a guy who should have been waiting to get fouled. He's the best ball handler, one of the best ball handlers I've ever seen. And then he gave it up, and that timeout didn't come. So you're right. It was a bad look, and you know, I haven't seen anything like that from this team, the bickering. It was sort of mentioned by Penny after the USF game that people were not on the same page, that there was friction within the locker room. That was about who was going to get the ball and who wasn't. And he wasn't going to say who the names were. He did tell me, as I said, that he thought going into the Tulane game, they had taken one step back to go 3 steps forward. He felt like it was all ironed out, but then he said again at the end, the last 7 minutes, they reverted. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you this: if they are not together, if they don't accept roles, then this team is going to struggle to even make the NCAA tournament. It's on them. They got to figure it out with Penny.
Well, Brett brought up how Penny said last night they had been kind of taking it easy on these guys, but then he kind of followed up on that saying he was going to go back this week with this week off, and you know, practices were going to be different this week. How important for them following these back-to-back losses, you know, really the first sign of adversity they've had to face this season, how important is it for them to have this week off, kind of get back to the fundamentals before heading to Birmingham? And what do you think Penny Hardaway is going to be focusing on or should be focusing on in these practices in preparation for UAB?
Well, I think he should go back and he should practice defense and defensive rotations, and in particular guarding the perimeter at a much better rate. Between Tomlin and Dandridge, he's playing him minutes now. You got rim protection in there, and you're going to bring Jordan Brown probably into the game against UAB. You're going to have rim protection, so you better start protecting the perimeter. That would be the first thing I would do, and I think that's what he meant. is that he was going to really work these guys on defense. Forget about scoring. You got enough scores. I will say there was some bad luck to this. It's not the first time for adversity either. Because the way they lost to Villanova and then they lost to Ole Miss.
That's true.
There were people that were thinking, this team, they had the lucky little run. They beat a bad Michigan team. They beat a bad Arkansas team. Let's see. And then they went on the other run.
Yeah.
So this is the first adversity since that particular time. I'll make this excuse for them, okay? There is no Caleb Mills. This is just the second or third game without him. He was the best perimeter defender.
Mm-hmm.
In the second half, Jaquan Walton couldn't play. He was rib injury. Something happened to him, whatever it might be. I hope this rest helps him because he played well in the first half of that game. He had 11 points in the first 20 minutes in New Orleans. Then, I'm going to tell you, Nick Jourdain was sick. He was sick the whole weekend. He actually threw up on the bus on the way to Avram B. Fogelman Arena, so he wasn't himself. Tomlin got hurt in the game. He got hit in the eye. He was limited with minutes because he said he couldn't see out of his eye. And Jonathan Pierre, who hasn't played a whole bunch, Jonathan Pierre, this might have been the right game for him. Like, it wasn't the right game to bring Jordan Brown in because those are small, quick guards. This would have been a good guard for Pierre. He did not make the trip because he had an illness. So the Tigers were shorthanded.
Yeah.
Not saying it's Grizzly-like, but it was in that league.
You said earlier, Penny, and you think the comment about the time off was rhetoric. Well, we know the Jordan Brown being sick was rhetoric as well. Is Jonathan Pierre sick, or is it rhetoric?
No. That's actual illness. The same thing that ended up getting Jourdain. That stuff's going around. Mm-hmm. And apparently when you get it, it hits you pretty hard.
Well, hopefully he bounces back this week from that. Speaking of Jordan Brown, the whole situation, we've been kind of following it from the start when it was an injury and then he wasn't with the team anymore. And then we got the rumors that there was, hope for, or talk that he could come back, but was with the team on Sunday. You mentioned pregame that he said he'd lost 7 pounds since when he was with the team at first. What do you think this, I guess everyone's calling it the slimmer Jordan Brown, can bring to this team now that he's back? And what do you make of this whole situation of being away from the team and now with it?
I really wish we find out more. Mm-hmm. That stuff is being really close to the vest. I don't know. I do know I thought he lost more than 7 pounds. He told me 7. I was sitting with Jason Munns, and both of us were surprised. I thought he was going to tell me 15 or 20. He does look slender, more slender. Maybe that'll get him up and down the court a little bit more. I think when he did leave, I'm guessing. No one's told me this. But my guess is, first of all, he was not in shape when he was here the first time. Right. This is not a good style for him. He wants to be a guy where they go down, they set up in half court, and they throw him the ball. If you look at his numbers, he has 1 assist and 9 turnovers. One assist.
Wow.
And he touched the ball a lot. He's not a guy who wants to pass the ball. He wants to be fed the ball in a half court, and he wants to shoot. Well, that's not the way this system has really been set up. Penny is a running team, likes to get stuff in transition, turn you over. You weren't getting that from Jordan Brown. Then I think he got a little ticked off about the way the numbers were getting called when he was in the game. He kept taking himself out of the game, by the way, with foul trouble. But when he was in the game, I think he wanted the ball more than he was getting it, and I think it irked him, and so he left. And then I think he wanted to come back because he didn't have very many options. He can't go to another school, and if he's not here, he's not getting paid NIL. So what was left? And so now
was it any NIL issue to it?
You know what, Brett? I don't know that to be a fact, but What's the old saying, my friend, that we've always said through all the shows that we have done together? When in doubt, trace the money, right? Usually we're saying that with the pros. Yeah. But think about this kid's plight. Where was he going to go? Mid-season? He can't transfer to another school. I don't think he was going to go to the G League in the middle. I don't think he was ready to go overseas. So I think if he wanted to get the NIL money, which, by the way, was probably a lot more money than he would make at any lower division overseas or G League, that he had to come back. And I think he went home and he started thinking about it, and he probably started working out a little bit, lost a little weight, and he's going to try to give it a go here.
So I just wonder if that is being done around college sports, if we're using NIL kind of as carrot stick. Get in shape, get back, we'll give you your money after we see that you're in shape.
Well, I do believe that. I think when the NIL stuff first started, I think they paid players a bunch of money up front. It's my knowledge that Imani Bates got all his money up front. Nike won't do that anymore. And I don't think since that particular incident, the University of Memphis has agreed to do that. I think these guys get paid on a monthly basis.
Interesting. Well, the week off for the Tigers, we'll see what happens, and back to work Sunday against UAB down in Birmingham. I know Andy Kennedy was calling his fans to come out in support for their team this weekend against Memphis. Sounds like it could be a really, really good environment this weekend as well. But Dave, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
All right, that's a great environment, by the way, if you've never been in there when there's a bunch of folks. And the Memphis-UAB rivalry is pretty good, and Andy knows that because Andy goes back to it as a player. And it's all the connection of Gene Bartow. I always think to him, and I think of his son Murray, who's now a scout when we go there. I love that vibe. I think there will be a pretty good amount of people that will be wearing blue. But this will be a great UAB crowd. This is going to be a good atmosphere. And it's coming down to if Memphis really wants to keep any kind of good seed in mind, they got to win this game. There's no question.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's gonna be a fun one. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. You got it.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers, with us every single Tuesday to talk Tiger football and basketball. And it's going to be a good one Sunday afternoon against UAB on the road in Birmingham. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Grizzlies. They won last night in Toronto. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Is your home still not warm enough or running out of hot water? Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, and we've got exciting news for you. Introducing Choate's Carrier Repair Buyback Program. If you've had HVAC or water heater repairs in the past year, you're in luck. Choate's will credit your repair costs up to $1,500 with a brand new HVAC or tankless water heater system. Yep, you heard right. Just bring your repair invoice from the last 365 days and get ready to upgrade your home's comfort. Say goodbye to those chilly nights and inconsistent heating. Choate's has you covered with various low-payment financing plans, making your upgrade more affordable than ever. Imagine a more efficient and reliable system keeping your family cozy all winter long. And here's the best part. This offer is a substantial boost towards a state-of-the-art heating solution. Ready to take the next step? Schedule your free estimate by calling 347-8086. And remember, turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7-passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812 MSRP 21590. Sorrento PG 242-710 MSRP 33010. Telluride RG 462822 MSRP 38705. Concludes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday, baked chicken, Italian Tuesday, spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $8.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $10.95. And veggie plate, $9.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9, Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Johnny Hill producing. We're in our Family Leisure studios as always. And Brett, we talked a little bit about the Tigers in the last segment, but the Grizzlies were in action last night against the Raptors. A 108-100 win for the Grizzlies. And we talked about it yesterday. It's Toronto Raptors team. They've been struggling. They've made some changes. Already a big trade a couple weeks ago. But this seemed like a game that this young Grizzlies team, this injured Grizzlies team, could go on the road and win. And they did it last night in what was a really fun game to watch.
And never trailed.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, played really, really well. It's a win they needed. Most of 4 out of the 5 starters in double figures last night. Jaren leading the way with 27. Luke Kennard, Vince Williams both played really well. Those are the guys that you really want to step up right now. Those are the guys that you're going to rely on. Vince Williams just got, kind of that upgrade from the two-way to a regular standard contract. So you want to see those guys go out there and produce. And so it was really good to see that last night.
Safe to say Luke Kennard in an expanded role, having to move over
yes.
and play a lot of point, but that was a good win last night. So I've been to 7 Grizzlies games this year.
Okay.
Starting from opening night through a couple Friday nights ago.
Uh-huh.
I'm 1-6 in person. So that means they've won more games in Canada this year than I've seen them win at FedEx Forum, or the same number that I've seen at FedEx Forum.
How about that? Oh, Canada.
Yeah.
It's not a great record, Brett, but
no.
I don't think many people that go to Grizzlies games have a great record this
Only
season.
4 at home all year, right?
Yeah, I believe that's right. How about this? I am 1-0 in Grizzlies games I've been at in person this year.
How about that?
So that's a pretty good record. But
that was my one.
That was your win. That's right.
Utah.
I just have not been to a loss, so that's got to keep that record in check.
I'm trying to find. Yeah, they've won 4 games at home this year.
Yeah, that's
4-15.
Brett, it's one of those years.
12-12 on the road.
They're good on the road. I mean, it's usually the opposite, especially when you're so banged up and playing young guys. Usually it's, at home you find success, but this team's been good on the road.
And with everything the Grizzlies have been through, and 5's a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
Only trail Golden State in the loss column by 5. What's Golden State's excuse?
It's a good question. I don't think they have one. The end of a dynasty coming?
Did in that game last night, did Pop finally move Wembanyama off of Embiid? He was getting cooked so bad.
I don't know. I was in and out on that game all night, and so I don't know. But before the game, he was saying we're gonna show him. This is gonna be a great game, and oof.
And you would think at 8-35, there would be somebody out there do that. Is this the end for Pop? Like everybody did for Belichick that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
You never see that story, that speculation, that topic, that nothing.
No, you don't see it at all. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's the fascination with Wembanyama is kind of overtaking the actually what's happening with this team. I don't know, because you don't see anybody talking negatively about Wembanyama, and I feel like that's somewhat carrying over and blinding people from this team's record.
You don't get a critical word about Popovich.
No, and you never have. So I don't know why we thought we would now.
And Belichick won more. And even in the rut, had more success than the rut Popovich is in.
And we heard it, week like 3 in the NFL season of, Belichick can't do it anymore. It was all Tom Brady. It's, he's done.
Heard it last
year, but this year was really the first year we heard, he's done. There's no way they can hold
on to him. You've never even gotten here to Mars from that story of Pop only did it because of Tim Duncan.
Oh, yeah. No chance. No way you'll ever see that. I mean, it's...
Because Pop is one of the... He's one of the coolest kids ever to the NBA media.
Yeah. No, he is. And, right there at the very bottom, only 2 teams, Brett, with less wins than the Spurs right now, and it's the Wizards and the Pistons. I mean, that's... not a great group to be in, but it was fun to see what Joel Embiid did last night with the 70-point game. Impressive. Then you had Cat go out and score a bunch of points, but they ended up losing the game
and got real cold. And they were star watching, and that loss at the end of the year, if they miss out that 1 seed and home court all the way through because that January loss to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Chris Finch, I thought handled it well. He blasted them. It's time for some of those guys to grow up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And Cat, he's a guy who loves his stats, he loves his points, and he likes to get up his shots. And doesn't sound like Chris Finch liked that very much last night after they lost that game to the Hornets. But let's go ahead, wrap up our first hour, and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some college football with Brent Beard.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Hey folks, Rich Eisen here. Get ready because the football playoffs are here and the guys on my show are having a blast picking their teams and stats on Prize Picks. Plus, with basketball season going strong, they're able to pick combo projections across both sports. Join them on prizepicks.com/primetime. Easy gameplay and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what they tell me makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Brockman is loving that aspect. He's hooked. And all you need to do is visit prizepicks.com/primetime and use code primetime. That's code primetime at prizepicks.com/primetime for a first deposit match up to $100. Don't be left on the sideline this basketball season. Go to Prize Picks. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Traffic still slow out there in Fayette County. Big slowdown out there. I think they're doing some road work also on 40 westbound around the 33-mile marker. Again, that's delaying a lot of folks coming from Fayette County towards Memphis on 40 going westbound at the 33-mile marker as that traffic picks up again over here in the construction on 55 north and southbound between Macklemore and South Parkway. Visibility's way down out here this afternoon. Give yourself extra time. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. They're online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beard, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beard. SEC, ACC, AAC. We talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beard with Bryant and Brett.
Brent Beard joins us now from First Coast News in Jacksonville to talk college football, and a lot has happened over the last week or so. I think the biggest has been all of the players entering the transfer portal out of Alabama, and a handful of them now landing at Ohio State. Brent, what have you made of Ohio State and the job they've done so far in the transfer portal?
Well, if you believe reports, which oftentimes we don't, they have spent $13 million in counting.
Wow.
For this roster. Now, they brought in, obviously, Will Howard. They brought in Junkins from Ole Miss. Henderson, they stayed. So they have, they've got Julian Sang now.
Bama Center.
Yeah. They've got Caleb Downs. My goodness. Now look, I get it, tremendous lineup, but boy, oh boy, let's just be honest here, guys. If Ryan Day loses to Michigan 4 times in a row, is this lineup going to save him this coming November?
I think he's got to go to the college football semifinals or bust.
Agree. Yeah, I think that's true. And look, that I know we've talked about Bill Battle before being unable to beat Alabama and Auburn, but you really and who was a very good coach, by the way. So could that be Ryan Day's legacy, guys? That he's a very good coach, but he couldn't get past Michigan into the playoffs.
Well, it's happened to people, and you're right. Coach Bryant got a lot of them. Coach Saban got a lot of really good coaches. He sent one to the United States Senate.
He did, didn't he? Pretty good. Yeah. So it's going to be it's going to be a tremendous lineup of stars all the way around. And lest we forget, Bill O'Brien now is there as offensive coordinator. So, I mean, they pretty much have got all they want. I guess my question is, and I'm glad I'm not doing this year, is imagine guys trying to put together a preseason magazine with all the shell pieces that we've got to deal with right now. I think a lot of people are looking at Georgia number one. I wonder if, and we've got plenty of time to figure this out, I wonder if Ohio State may take over that number one spot.
Yeah, and I was looking at Ohio State next year. They go to conference member Oregon. Yeah, nice. October 12th, they go to a Big Ten game at Oregon. They've got the game at Penn State, and they've got the home game against Michigan to the end of the year. And I think one or two other challenges, home against Iowa, that they'll win that. But there are some places in that, home against Nebraska, that should be improved. I think they were improved this year. But Brent, I still don't think we can get mad. We can't get indignant at the Big Ten or at Ohio State for, not my words, but some others stealing our players. First of all, we don't own them. And it's one thing I like about the freedom and liberation for these players. You hear the words business decision a lot of times for these players. Quinshawn Judkins used it. Caleb Downs used it. It's being used far and wide. You can't love the portal only when you're receiving. When you lose, you can't get mad at it.
I don't. I have begun to accept the portal, and that doesn't necessarily mean I like it. But I realize that it is becoming a part of the vernacular. And guys, as we've talked before, I don't think this is but just the beginning of where we're going here. I still think we're going to contracts and players as employees and bargaining and all that goes with it. I don't want college football to be NFL light, but I'm still not sure that's not where we're going unless we are able to get some pretty smart people together. And maybe this is one of the things that Nick Saban can work on in his free time now, is coming up with some answers that maybe that the players can be rewarded, but we don't give away the farm in the process.
Brent, I'm with you on Coach Nick Saban in retirement, maybe being the overlord of college football. He's about the only one that I think Greg Sankey, if he were commissioner of the SEC, would accept. Greg Sankey is never allowing somebody else to call the shots for SEC league decisions. He's never turning the keys over to go, here, you run college football from an office in Chicago.
No. Oh, no, that will absolutely never happen. I mean, Brett, I'm being a little bit facetious, but I'm really not. Before that happened, would the SEC succeed from college football and for a lack of a better word, go independent?
Well, as a historical matter, I would use a different word than secession, because it didn't work out good 175 years ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to be kind here, frankly, but you guys understand, yes.
Yeah.
So, obviously talking about Ohio State, what they have done in the transfer portal, picking up a handful of Alabama guys. What does next year look like for Alabama and Kalen DeBoer's first year?
I think that once people are able to kind of sit back and look and see where they are and who's still there. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, they've still got a good nucleus that are coming back now. Frankly, they've got to get their quarterback, Jalen Milroe, up to speed, and I think they can probably do that with the offensive coordinator from Washington, the offensive line coach from Washington with the Joe Moore Award winner. They are very promising. A lot of it's going to be dependent on Milroe and how well the defense is able to come back. But they've got to replenish the secondary. Look, Brian, and Brett knows this well. There's a learning curve in this league. I don't care who you are, and you just got to go through that. I mean, Brian Kelly went through it recently, and we can just keep clicking off names. They're going to get more players in April when the portal opens, but the problem is what we learned last year. It'll be interesting to see if this happens this year. You guys remember the better players were in the winter portal than the spring. It doesn't mean you still can't get some good players, but I'm just curious about where that's going to go. But folks like the staff. They think they'll be okay. I mean, the schedule is going to be tough like it is everybody else. I mean, they do go to Wisconsin. They go to Oklahoma before they play Auburn. And in the typical group that they've got, I don't know. We'll certainly know more after spring. Is anybody going to be predicting them to win the national championship? No, I don't see that. But I think this guy may do better than certainly what they had before in a Mike Dubose or a Mike Shula.
Can you imagine, guys? Seriously, at some point, Kalen DeBoer, that early morning time when you're all alone, you can kind of think and plot the day and think about where your life stands and everything going on. Think about his last 6 months. Think about from the 25th of July and he had been working before that, but when you really start locking in on August camp opening and building your team and the great team that he had and the season he had, then in the bowl season, the job duties at Washington. Oh, by the way, a life, a husband, a dad, responsibilities. Think of the whirlwind that man has lived under.
I think he's pretty grounded, which helps. I mean, the guy is not, shall we say, I mean, he could be with the players behind closed doors. I don't know if he's your quote screamer and yeller like some of the guys are, but that's a great point. I tell you, life comes at you fast. And you
ask Mike Price how fast he can come at you.
Yeah. Oh my! But you can go. Listen, you can go from rags to riches very quickly in just a few months in college football, and vice versa.
Yep.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Another team I'm curious what next season looks like for is Clemson. We've seen a lot of people talking about kind of the downward slope that they are on and have been over the last couple of years. We know Dabo does not love the transfer portal and the way that that college football is going. Do they rebound next year and bring back a lot of pieces and maybe get back to that top place in the ACC?
Possibly, but now Florida State has lost a decent amount, particularly a quarterback. Cam Ward is going to help Miami a lot. Yeah. So I think there's enough coming back, and I think there's enough that Norvell has learned at this point. Now, we haven't talked about this much, but they're refurbishing their stadium.
Yeah.
So that's going to have an effect on their attendance. Now, they hope
Memphis plays down there early next year.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see what seats are available. Now, my understanding is it'll all be done for the 25 season. Alabama actually goes to Tallahassee and opens a season then, which will be interesting. Also, guys, forgive me if I make a point here, since we brought up the Clemson about the ACC. I sent this to Brad earlier, and they're going to come out. The league is tomorrow night and have their full schedule, but I'm just looking, and forgive me for this, but I know the SEC often gets a lot of criticism for their opening week schedule, but I'm looking here with, and I probably won't go through everything here, but you'll get the point pretty quick. I mean, on Thursday, North Carolina, Minnesota, North Carolina, AT&T at Wake, Western Carolina at NC State. Then on Friday, you've got Elon at Duke, TCU at Stanford, which is mildly interesting, Austin P at Louisville, one of the better games, certainly, Clemson and Georgia, speaking of, in Atlanta, they'll say that's a neutral site game, I'm sure. Georgia State at Georgia Tech, Houston Christian at SMU, Kent State at Pitt. The best game of all, Miami at Florida, which will be good. Virginia Tech at Vanderbilt. Then you've got a thriller on Monday night with Boston College at Florida State. Now, when I saw that, I just thought, look, I like the league. I've covered the league for years, and I'd love for the league to be better. And sometimes that's more wishing than anything else. But tell me I'm wrong here, but I don't think a lot of these games, particularly that Labor Day night game, is going to move the meter very much, are they?
Yeah, I hope they realize in Boston that Boston College is a member of the ACC. There are times that I doubt that outside of Chestnut Hill. But Brent, I think whether it's the SEC doing it in Cupcake Weekend at the end of the year, or doing it with games early in the year, or the ACC doing it, I think the market's going to dictate this. And the Big Ten's rolling out the big guns week one. They're rolling out must-see TV, to borrow a phrase from one of their carriers. And if you don't keep up, you'll get mauled in the ratings, and it will force you to in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, no question. But the you think about the pressure on the ACC right now. And I've been told by the Florida State contacts, they are getting out. And yes, it's going to cost them that everybody thought about $500 million to do it. But Brett told me years ago, money talks and everything can be negotiated.
$500 million.
Crazy. So $500.
Let's say we cut it in half.
Yeah. Now look. That's still a hunk of change, is it not?
It's just incredible, these numbers. But what Florida State is hoping is somebody else play with them, somebody else take some of the hits. And Clemson just doesn't fit. Clemson just won't do it. They get almost there. Brent, I came on the air the other day hearing from college sports aficionado, and it's not SEC related, sure not Ole Miss related. I promise you. Tells me that he thinks any day the announcement of Virginia, North Carolina to the SEC to begin in basketball next year, just like Arkansas and South Carolina did. They didn't make their debut in football in September. They made it in January in basketball, January of 93. Wow. January of 92, I'm sorry.
That would be an interesting transition. Would it not? And guys, the thing we've talked here before, and I know there are people listening and say, why in the world would you bring in Virginia, North Carolina? Well, I can tell you this, that would make these presidents and chancellors delirious because...
They would, because those SAT scores matter to them.
Yeah, well, and this AAU acronym matters to them too. And if you bring them in, that shows we're an elite academic school.
We don't need any SAT scores. We need 40 times.
Absolutely. yeah, absolutely. But at this point, guys, with expansion, would anything surprise you?
No. That's exactly what Bryant said. He said the only thing I'm surprised when I brought this up. He said the only thing I'm surprised by is I'm surprised it hadn't been brought up already by now. And it just is constantly evolving. Brent, we were wondering from the Chris Lowe tweet to the confirmation to the press conference, Coach Nick Saban was stepping away. We knew a lot of things would be similar to back in the day when Coach Bryant announced his retirement. And we knew a lot of things, most notably the Instagram and the internet and all that would be quite different. Here's one thing that I want to correct the record on. You're seeing way too many stories out there that Alabama, between Bryant and Saban, practically didn't field a football team. That could not be more untrue.
Absolutely.
And it's a bunch of people that think TikTok matters that are selling that story that between Bryant and Saban, it was just a football wasteland. There was a national championship in there by Gene Stallings. There were double-digit win seasons by every single coach that coached a game. Mike Price did not. He went 0-0. We know he didn't coach at Alabama. He didn't coach a single game. And to see our friend, who I have a lot of respect for and a lot just darn good like for and had good times with, Tony Barnhart, write a story that they didn't win an SEC title from Stallings to Saban is just inaccurate. Mike Dubose won one in 99,
Absolutely he did.
beating Florida at the height of the sport, not once but twice in about an 11-week span.
That will be one of the greatest feats that people have tried to explain. Listen, Bama beat them in Gainesville and then beat them worse in the SEC championship game. I was there, and to your point about Gene Stallings, Brett, people forget Gene Stallings won 70 games in 7 years.
Brent, I will contend that Bama period between the end of Coach Bryant and the beginning of Coach Nick Saban, that stretch of history for the current 14 members of the SEC, so 13 other than Alabama, at about 8 or 9 places, that stretch of history they would dream of as their whole football history if it could be that good.
Oh, yeah. Well, and your point's also well taken. Franchione, Dubose, Mike Shula.
Mike Shula won 10 games and won a Cotton Bowl.
He sure did. Absolutely.
I don't really know how, but...
Yeah, I don't either. Well, Brody Kroll helped him for one.
And D'Amico Ryans.
Yes. 2005... they beat Tennessee in by almost a miracle, frankly.
6-3. I was at the game.
Yes.
You were at the game.
And which was they had a, when I say miracle, Brian, Brett, help me on this. Basically Tennessee's their running backs going in the end zone, the ball gets punched out.
Roman Harper.
Oh, wow. And by Roman Harper, it rolls out of the end zone. It's touchback.
Holy
yeah.
And Brett, listen, literally, he was on the verge of going in the end zone, correct?
And beat Florida that year on a day, and I don't say this flippantly, on a day that we saw a player almost lose a leg in a game.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. So, but Brett's right on that. It's a look. There were some difficult years. There's no doubt about that. After Mike Dubose won the SEC title, he was basically out the door. A few months later, they went through the Mike Price stuff, and listen, he didn't get a whole lot of credit for it, particularly the way he left. But Franchione was a pretty solid football coach in his own right. He just wasn't a great fit. That made a difference.
He was the cure for insomnia. He was the most boring human ever.
Yeah. Now, he did Ray Melling of the Post-Herald made a great point. He said Franchione, when he was in Alabama, was one of the better coaches from Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, he lacked a lot, is how he put it.
Yes, he did.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm still sitting here trying to wrap my head about 5 minutes ago when Brent, you were listing out the Week 1 ACC schedules and hearing Cal and Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, look,
and Cal's really weird.
Yeah,
it really does, and it's gonna be a while before we're able to really understand where that's going to go. Yeah. Now, but I will say this: there are some tremendous games this year. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, as Brett said. This LSU Southern Cal game in Las Vegas is going to be a lot of fun. And listen, this Texas at Michigan game, there is no telling, guys. What we talk about audience from the TV. There's no, and I think the Rose Bowl had 32 million people. I'm not saying that game is going to have that many people watching it, but there are going to be a lot of people watching that ball game.
It'll be 15, 16 million north, kind of opening bid. Tomorrow night in basketball, Alabama and Auburn. Let's all say it together. The Iron Bowl on the hardwoods tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Pearl against Nate Oates. Brent, I know you think a lot of Nate Oates, and he's done a good job at Alabama, but I frankly don't think he should be mentioned in the same sentence with Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl is an outstanding coach.
It's amazing the consistency that Pearl has gotten. Now, this Broom kid in the middle is a load, but they're an extremely deep team with that, too. That's going to be a fascinating game, to say the least. Bama really needs to win that game for the quad one and all that stuff that goes along with it. But there's no question. Look, not only has Auburn won this year, but Auburn's won virtually every game by double digits.
Yeah, they've been incredible, and like you said, winning every game by double digits. And that one should be a fun one tomorrow night against Alabama, who's seeming to kind of get it back together. But it will be a lot of fun to watch. Brent, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
And as I'm going out here, let me say, watching Tennessee Saturday in Alabama. Look, I'm convinced Tennessee guards you as you're getting off the bus.
They are, but I got to see them not play tight in the tournament.
But, Brett, thank you for that. I've said that a lot recently, and people just look at me funny.
I know.
But that is the gospel because
the sport comes down to March.
Yes, it really does. And folks have overlooked that, and we'll talk about that more as we get closer. But that is a phenomenon in Knoxville that they are only too well aware of, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Got to see them do it in the postseason. But we'll do it again next week, Brent.
Good. Always enjoy it, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Brent. Have a great week.
You too.
Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville. He joins us every single week to talk college football. We'll start getting some college basketball in there as well with Brent as we get closer to March and really when everyone is paying attention to college basketball. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we got to talk about these NFL games for this upcoming weekend. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Whether it's date night, a birthday, or just because, raise a steak in celebration at Ruth's Chris. Open in the Regalia Shopping Center at the corner of Poplar and Ridgeway. Treat yourself to one of our classic USDA prime beef steaks, seasoned and broiled to perfection. Then serve sizzling hot on one of Ruth's signature 500-degree plates. Visit Ruth'sChris.com to make a reservation. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Memphis. This is how celebrating more is done.
At Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, new inventory is arriving daily, and we've got what you've been looking for to start the new year off right. Get off to a great year in your award-winning 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, $329 a month, or buy it for $29,910. Take a spin in your new 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $29,445, or lease for $449 a month. How about 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, 420 total range MPGe? You own it for $649 a month. Plus, no worries with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or online anytime, MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Car.
PHEV PZ06203 MSRP 44,355. Sport RU 001136 MSRP 28,000. Eclipse RZO 12051 MSRP 31,700. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, big to little, finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, even new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws, you need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Quince and White Station. If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We still see that big delay out there in Fayette County. It's been that way for a couple of hours on 40 westbound. Trying to get past the 33-mile marker. That's leaving Fayette County, headed towards Memphis on 40 going westbound. Starting to bog down again over here on 55 north up by South Parkway. McLemore in that construction. It's gotten a little bit heavier on 240 as you get on to 385. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525. Highway 64 is your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and a lot to get to in the NFL. But, Brett, I want to start off, before we get to these games this weekend, kind of the big talk around the NFL world is Jim Harbaugh and the reports that both him and the Chargers are in striking distance of a deal. Do you think we see something in the next 24 hours of him accepting a deal with the Chargers, or do you think this is just kind of a ploy to see what Michigan can offer?
I think he's going to take it, and but I do think, as I said earlier, I think it is tough for him to leave there because this will be the last time.
Yeah.
You know, I think he probably had to think as a player, I'll come back to a lot of events. He'll go back to that as a national champion coach forever. But in that role, to have that M on his hat, like his coach Bo Schembechler, always that image that he always had, that will end that, and it was always there for him, whether he was coaching on the way up at University of San Diego or at Stanford, or then to the NFL and with the 49ers. Michigan was always out there. This will end that for him. Yeah. He it won't be a second go around for him at Michigan, because those usually don't work very well. Right. And kind of how this one is ending great. It's ending with the national championship, but a lot went with it this year.
Sure did. I mean, 6 games suspension and 3 at the beginning, 3 at the end. A lot of talk.
And we don't know the punishment he's going to leave for his successor.
Yeah, that's another really good point. And I think, like you mentioned, I mean, it's hard for him. We've heard him talk, and you can hear it just in his voice and the things he says, how much Michigan means to him as a program, as a school. And so I'm sure it was very hard, and it is very hard in these discussions with, him, his family, his agent. I'm sure it's tough to make that decision on, do I want to go back to the NFL? Do I want to stay at my alma mater? But I'm with you. I think ultimately we get the news that he strikes a deal with the Chargers.
And obviously this is not going to be the first time he's coached in the NFL. He did it very well. Got a team all the way to the Super Bowl. But you don't have to go in there. I don't think the Chargers have a song. We know the Bears have a song, and some other teams have songs. Do the Lions have a song? Did I hear them singing something in unison Sunday afternoon? Their fans.
I don't know.
I don't know if the Lions have a song, but I don't know if the Chargers have one or not. And you don't have to go in there talking about, I'm a Charger man, Charger for life. It's not in that. There's no pretense around that. We're getting a little bit away from that at the college level, a little, because now it's largely pay for play, and loyalties are as far as the check takes people. There's the story that Jimmy Johnson, upon accepting his friend Jerry Jones' offer to be the coach of the Cowboys, fly, Eagles, fly, thank you. My friend Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous. The Eagles sure have a song. Thank you, Pat. The Eagles sure have a song. I don't know if the Chargers have one, but Jimmy Johnson, I don't know if it was the next day, but it was before the next season, immediately filed for divorce. He said, I don't have to have the pretense anymore to recruits and to mamas that I'm happily married. It don't make a dang to that locker room if I'm happily married or not.
Yeah, no, so I mean, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of new. Do you like the idea of him in the Chargers?
Oh, I do. I like it. I like it a lot with those younger pieces that they have, most notably at quarterback, even at running back, at wide receiver. I like the defense. Now, some of that is you got to cash it in pretty fast with the Chargers, because either the experience, the years are wearing on, or contract times coming due. But he's going to walk in there, and it's going to be all business. It's not going to be any thing about learning. Hail to the victors with them, and it's just no pretense around it. I don't mind that. I don't mind some of that mentality now around the college scene of it. This is a job.
Yeah. No, I don't either. And I think Brett, there's going to be a lot of expectations with the Chargers, and especially if he takes over. Brett, there were some people that thought the Chargers would do very well this season and thought that they might go to the Super Bowl.
Who were those numbskulls? What do they know?
I don't want to point fingers, Brett, but I'm just saying some people that also say they're there for me all the time when it comes to the Cowboys.
Well, Johnny, we have tried to be.
And we still are.
And we still will be. Even with hurls of insults, we still will be, Johnny, won't we?
We here for you. Do you have the tissues? Do you have the tissues?
I got tissue.
He keeps the tissues. No, but I do think this team, they have the pieces, and I think if they go out there and make the hire of Jim Harbaugh, there are going to be a lot of expectations, and I think a lot of people will view them as a team that can do some real damage in the postseason.
And if you're a Titans fan today with those aircraft carriers out there to be had in the coaching world. You just fired Mike Vrabel. Okay, maybe he's not full-born aircraft carrier, but he's certainly an Aegis fighter. I mean, he's pretty good. But you got Belichick out there. You got Harbaugh out there. And you hire Brian Callahan?
Yeah, I was a little surprised when I saw that. I mean, hey,
That's Rand Carthon wanting his guy.
Exactly. And kind of
I understand that.
Sure. And they kind of need a spark offensively, and so go out, hire an offensive mind. You got a young quarterback to kind of build around and to kind of build into an NFL player. And this is a guy that has been working with Joe Burrow, and maybe he can work some magic, and we can see some similar types of things with Will Levis.
We mentioned that TV rating Sunday, 50 million. And this Sunday, and you may noted this yesterday, both these games will be kind of in that Sunday, late afternoon, early evening, game over by 9 o'clock, the second game, Central Time. These games used to go off like at 11:30 and 3. Once upon a time, but TV recognized, kick it on back a little bit and get it into prime time a little bit if you can. With the open date between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, and we know in this sports world now, one day doesn't make that big a difference, even traveling cross country. Why would you not put one of these in the future into that primetime window on Saturday night when everybody's stuck in the house freezing?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, because you're going to get big numbers. You just mentioned what we saw. Right, you mentioned earlier what we saw for a replay of a game, not even a live game. I mean, that's incredible. And so, you're not going to be going up against anything. And there are going to be networks that if you say, hey, we're going to do a game on a Saturday night, there are going to be, all those networks are going to be bidding for it. They'll say whatever we had for Saturday night, we'll push it to the side for an NFL game. So, and like you said, you have that whole week off. I mean, it's not going to make a difference one day. I think that'd be a good idea.
Hit the Google machine for me if the Lions have a song. I swear I thought I heard them all singing. They may have been singing "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow" for all I know, or Mr. Brightside song. What is that song?
The Lions.
That everybody sings at sports now.
I don't know.
Every place plays it. I don't know the words.
I'm sure I'd know if I heard it. It looks like they do have a fight song.
Washington does. The Eagles, they definitely do.
Gridiron
Bears.
Heroes. Traditionally sung after touchdowns, the song Gridiron Heroes has stood the test of time for the team. It survived decades and remains one of the proud traditions of the game. The song dates back to the 1930s. Interesting. Is the classic Detroit Lions fight song. Yeah.
I thought I'm listening to it and going, what is that? It doesn't sound like.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing there's a YouTube.
I knew it wasn't Motown they were singing.
No. Someone tweeted out, or someone has a story that says the quote brand new Lions need a quote brand new fight song. So I guess not everybody likes the fight song of the
my Lions.
And your Lions, Brett. Yes, yeah. So,
get me a Greg Landry jersey, old number 11.
Johnny,
that's what I need.
Johnny, I'm curious next week if the Lions lose, who his team will be for the Super Bowl. They don't have 2 weeks for it to be his team. And then if they win, even more. I mean, the whole offseason.
I'm not anti anybody, though. I'm not anti Kansas City winning again. I'm not anti Ravens. I like that organization. Yeah. I like John Harbaugh. I like the Harbaugh boys. There's one of your big stories. Sure. Super Bowl week, the Harbaugh brothers.
Man, it really, really will be. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not against anybody, but I'm certainly, if I had to pick, I would say I would want Ravens and Lions.
I would greatly encourage this Friday. I would encourage and sure would hope that people listen every day as much as you can. We sure appreciate it. I know there's a lot of choices, a lot of options out there, and we appreciate you whenever you can, however you can listen, whether it's on podcast or live at work, in your car, however you're doing it. But last Friday, there were only 4 NFL games for our pickers to pick from.
Yeah.
Allen Bell at 3:30. Through the course of the regular season, we go to him mostly, not entirely, for NFL. Yes. And during the course of the regular season, Bruce Marshall at 4 o'clock is largely college football. And we try to have that differentiation for those two guests on Friday. But with only 4 games to pick from, they had 4 games to pick from, and one goes 5-2, and the other one goes 4-2. Every single word I'm saying about this can be confirmed at our website at the podcast from last Friday with Allen Bell at 3:30 and with Bruce Marshall. Every pick for the year. Sure. If you don't want to trust my numbers, go back and prove me wrong. Yes. And I guarantee you can't. So last Friday, Allen Bell goes 5-2 to take his NFL total for the year to 46-24. That's 657 picking.
It's crazy.
Everybody in that industry will take that. That is toward the high end in that industry. Yes. If they're telling you they're picking 90% winners, they're liars. College football, 42-36 for the year, 538, so a total of 88-60 for 594. That's really close to 600 picking.
Yes.
Bruce Marshall goes 4-2 last week to take his NFL to 40-29 for the year. Not as many picks because it's mostly college for him. And for his percentage is 579. His college percentage was 62-59, 504. For the year, 102-88, 536. Most would take that.
Mm-hmm. Brett, I don't care what it is, whether it's sports betting, whether it's basketball, football. If you're hitting over 50% clip, I mean, that is incredible.
It is. And last week, and they only overlap. This is kind of new math because used to we just have the favorite underdog over or under.
Right.
Well, now we've got so many options.
Player props.
And I thought one of Alan Bell's 2 losses, I thought was the bet of the weekend, was the over Josh Allen 0.5 interception. So if you threw one, you win. Exactly. And he didn't.
Yep.
And the ball was up for grabs all day.
All night, Brett. All night. But no, both have been really, really good. And again, Brett, we said it multiple times, but, this isn't, we're not given or they don't ask us to ask about specific
We do
games.
not send them games to go over.
Nope.
Never.
We whatever game we think looks good, we throw at them, and they're still hitting like that. It's incredible.
The only text back and forth every week is confirmation. Yep. You good to go tomorrow.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
We hey, I want to push this game. Want to stay away from this game. It's never been a word about it. Not one.
Nothing.
If you're ready to drive a new Silverado, I know the place to go. Drive down Highway 78, first exit's Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there at All-Star Chevrolet, and that's what you need to be driving for 2024. They have a lot of great options for the new year. All-Star Chevy right there in Olive Branch with financing down to 1.9 or up to $7,500 in cash back, and you get another $2,250 with your trade on select vehicles. You'll love all the new All-Star Chevy Equinox, the Trailblazers, financing down to 1.9, no payment 90 days. That's 3 months with no payments. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star. If you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned All-Star, they're loaded up with them. Lots of pre-owned Silverados, Tahoes, the Traverse with third row seating so we can all do more together, Broncos, and if by chance it's not on the lot, ask Jeff. He'll get it there for you. Kevin and Jeff and everyone at All-Star wishes everyone a happy and healthy 2024. Remember, it's not South Haven, Bartlett, Mount Moriah, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Let's get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. Do
you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? And if you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
It's the Start Something New sales event, and it's on now at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Start your new year off in a new ride with 2023 Jeep Renegade. We Gossett at $24,990. How about a 2023 Grand Wagoneer 111 4x4, $10,000 off MSRP. Plus, get unparalleled power in a new 2022 Charger Scat Pack. Your time to get $10,000 off MSRP at Gossett on the Pike. And there's never been a better time than right now for 2023 Dodge Charger SXT. We Gossett only $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike, or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motorcars.
Renegade Triple P 56029 MSRP 30,040 Wagoneer PS 508,331 MSRP 112,285 Charger NH 251,172 MSRP 58,020 SXT PH 508,657 MSRP 35,930 includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll find only spectacular natural diamonds that will remain treasured for generations. That promise is now symbolized by the engraved Sissy signature and sapphire, representing our guarantee of extraordinary service, selection, experience, and quality. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience the Sissy's promise for yourself. Find a jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, I really like my big number today. It comes from the NBA, and it is the number 70. It could be a couple. There's a lot of big numbers in this big number that I could have used, but I will use 70. Joel Embiid scored 70 points last night in an NBA basketball game. There have been 14 70-point games in NBA history. Half of those games, so 7 70-point games, belong to former Kansas players. No other school has more than one. Kansas has 7 of them.
Wilt the Stilt got a bunch of them.
6 of them. And then Joel Embiid had one last night. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
That's amazing. Amazing.
That is. Let me give everybody, because I've heard this mangled far and wide today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give everybody a quick tutorial.
Okay.
Wilt Chamberlain scored 100. So people are going, well, he was for Philadelphia. He was playing for the Philadelphia Warriors. That later that team moved to San Francisco and became the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went back and indeed did play for the Philadelphia 76ers after the team from Syracuse, the Nationals, moved to Philly when the NBA recognized, hey, we need a team back in Philly. But he didn't score 100 with the 76ers.
Right. Yeah, I'm seeing this.
I've heard that butchered all day today. It's not that difficult.
No, it's not. And I'm seeing this 100-point game here on the NBA website from March 2nd, 1962. Brett,
the famous day in Hershey, PA.
Still got to see the video.
I gave you a book on it.
You did, and I've read some of it. I put it away when they started talking about the 100-point game.
I know
you don't believe it, Brian?
No.
I know for a year, 1 year out of Kansas, Wilt Chamberlain played for the Globetrotters. Didn't even go to the NBA yet.
How about that?
He may have played 2 years. I know he played 1 year.
Love the
that he just threw we didn't throw it away because it made him really marketable.
Yeah.
And then played for his hometown Warriors, and then later came back and played it for his hometown 76ers from Overbrook High in Philadelphia, and just what he did night in and night out, and famously, never fouled out a game. What did Shaquille O'Neal do in his very first NBA game that Wilt Chamberlain never did? He fouled out.
Fouled out, yeah. No, but that was I was blown away that seven of the 14 70-point games come from Kansas.
My big number is 261. That's the number of picks between number 1 overall pick Jared Goff in the 2016 draft and in the 2022 draft, Mr. Irrelevant number 262, Brock Purdy. There's a long way between 1 and 262, isn't it? It feels like more than 261. First round quarterbacks the year Brock Purdy came out. Kenny Pickett in the first round. Second round, none. Third round, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral. Fourth round, Bailey Zappi. Fifth round, Sam Howell. Sixth round, none. Seventh round, he was from South Dakota, and I don't know the pronunciation of his last name. Chris Oladikin.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Skylar Thompson. And Brock Purdy.
That's incredible. That is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Purdy.
Had a parade.
Literally.
He's going for a second parade at Disney.
It's crazy. That
if he's MVP, that will be a story. Brady won 99. Brady played at Michigan. He wasn't at Iowa State.
Right.
Hey, that's very true.
That's crazy. And you talk about some of those names in there, quarterbacks in that same draft that just have not worked out at all and drafted much higher than Brock Purdy.
All right, here's the age-old question. The third round guys, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, are they bust?
Yeah, I say yeah.
Matt never got to the starter's gate because of injury.
That's true, so I don't know if you can call that a bust.
Malik Willis can't play, and Ridder has had a chance and is not very good.
Ridder's terrible. Ridder is not a good NFL quarterback. I can't stand Desmond Ridder.
Overrated.
Sure, a great person. Hate him on the football.
And Matt Corral, foot stepped on and crushed in his first preseason game. What kind of luck is that?
Man, that's awful
luck. I mean, literally. And good reports coming out from camp for him, and then that just completely derailed it. So, I do hate that. But that is incredible when you start listing those other names in there. And then Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last name off the board. And a lot of picks between there and several days between there before Brock Purdy got his name called. And now an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl. It's incredible. But let's go ahead and wrap up our second hour, get to a break. When we come back, we're talking more NFL with Bo Marchant.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. Two final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year, it's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. We've also got lab-grown diamonds of the highest quality at prices way below what you see at other jewelers. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge, fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2024 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces.
The holidays are over and everyone has that little bit of Christmas money they didn't have a month ago. And studies have shown the best way to spend money you did nothing to earn is to do something extravagant, like taking yourself and others, if necessary, to 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. Meemaw may not have intended that crisp Benjamin to go to having the best steak of your life, but she didn't specify what it should be spent on, did she? Go ahead, feel all warm and fuzzy knowing that somebody else is footing the bill for 117 Prime.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It still wants to get a little bit heavy over here now on 240 East, coming past Mount Moriah, getting on to 385 Billmores Parkway as you continue on 240 East up by Poplar. It's starting to get crowded. It's also pretty busy today on 55 North, especially in the construction over here between Macklemore and South Parkway. Be careful. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. They're online. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Bo Marchant joins us now like he does every single week to talk the NFL. Bo, thanks so much for joining us. I know we want to get to what happened last weekend on the field and also these games coming up this weekend, but I do want to ask you about some of the coaching hires that have happened over the last week. We didn't get to it last week. This happened a couple weeks ago, but Drod Mayo, now the head coach for the Patriots, he takes over for Bill Belichick. We now know that it was written into his contract that he would be the next head coach in New England. What do you think about this move for them, and what do you see the future in New England?
Well, they got to get a quarterback. If they look if they get a good quarterback, maybe Jaden Daniels next year when they pick, who knows what they'll do quarterback wise. Jared Mayo will look like a good coach, and that was the demise of Bill Belichick. And and that's the key. You got to have a quarterback in this league, and Mac Jones never panned out. And that's why we're in the situation that we are. If Mac Jones pans out and they're successful, they're 11-6 or whatnot, they're making the playoffs. Belichick's still in New England, but that's the case. Jared Mayo, he is a Patriot guy. He knows the way, and he said it in his press conference. He's not Bill Belichick, and that's a lot to live up to. And anybody going in to replace that, you're never going to replace that type of it. But it doesn't mean you can be successful in your own right and carve out your own history.
Yeah.
Wherever he coaches next, he's going to coach, and I think he'll have enough success at about wherever to finally, ultimately pass Don Shula. But it will be fair to ask. I know he won't give up much, and he'll almost go like into just ventriloquist mode when he speaks. But it is fair to ask Bill Belichick, are you coaching to win something big for this franchise? Or are you coaching to pass Don Shula?
Oh, I think he's the ultimate competitor, and I think he wants both. I think if he had to put all his, cards on the table, he wants to win Super Bowls. He wants to go, undefeated, and he wants to, he wants that as a gift. I think as a bonus. I guess, the cake and the icing too. Down at the heart of it, we know Bill Belichick is a competitor, and he wants to win. He's going to do everything possible to make that happen. So I would never, at least me, I would never consider that as anything that would be substantial to him as a goal. I think those one of the accolades that come with winning. It's kind of like if you're a player and you have the best season of your life and you're up for an MVP candidate or a player of the year, defensive player of the year. I think those are the accolades that come with being successful. And I think, nonetheless, if he could win 2 more games but somehow manipulate a Lombardi trophy into that, he would do it that way and let the Scholler record rest.
So at the next stop, other than passing Shula, what will be success? Playoff appearance, championship game, win it all? What would everybody recognize? Go, yeah, that last stop was a good one for Bill Belichick.
I think, I think almost like a Jimmy Johnson thing. I think you can compare Jimmy Johnson's role in Dallas comparable to what Belichick had during.
And he was pretty good in Miami.
Yeah, and he was pretty good in Miami, and I think that and that was the best he could do in Miami was what Jimmy Johnson did. And he, we never, we didn't take it, we didn't knock him a notch down for it. We didn't put him a peg below what we thought of him. It was just a different team, and there's so much that goes into it. But I think for Belichick, if he goes wherever he does go, the one thing, Brett, I think he can't go somewhere and just say if he has 3 more years left in the league, just hypothetically, and he just say he goes, 6-11, 7-10, like that type of record, he's going to have to turn it around, or at least put it at the point where if he would do that, change the attitude, the atmosphere of whatever franchise he's in, and then the new people come in and they kind of take it to that next level to kind of leave it. But if he goes somewhere else and it'll just leave a sour note on a magnificent career. And people talk about Brady and Belichick, and because Brady listen, Brady left. Brady knew the cupboards were bare. It's kind of like goes back to LeBron James in Cleveland. He didn't leave the Cavs because they were the best team. He left the Cavs because he wasn't going to win a title. And that's how Brady was. He saw what was in that team. He knew he couldn't carry it anymore. Where did he go? He went to a stacked Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. If Belichick could have his choice to go anywhere and coach, anywhere, basically, he could probably win a couple more Lombardi trophies before he calls it said and done. So, Belichick's a master. And I feel almost bad that it's we get so self-satisfied with being, you have to be on point all the time. And just to think that Belichick's not an NFL coach right now, a couple, more during the playoffs of the year. And he will be if he doesn't find a place in next year. But nonetheless, it's a finicky world. And if you're not just 110% crushing it, you're going to have your critics and they can run you out of town.
Here locally, the Titans made a move last night, hiring the Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their new head coach. Were you surprised by this move, going coordinator for them and bringing in an offensive guy to the Titans? And what do you expect for Brian Callahan as now the head man in Nashville?
It's a quote about quarterback development, and he was pretty lucky he had to develop. I really don't know how much you can develop Joe Burrow. I think he's kind of like buying a Mercedes Benz or a Cadillac right off the line. There's not much you got to worry about. It's right there for you. So, he's going to have his work cut out. The Will Levis, how much he can develop him and build around him, and that's the key. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Belichick didn't have a quarterback, and will Callahan have a guy that he can build around the franchise? And if not, you really get stuck in spinning your wheels and trying to find success. And we see it in Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett. And you can have everything planned and so many other solid things, but in today's league, if you don't have that guy under center that can be an elite guy, you're going to really struggle. You're going to kind of be in the mixture of we're bad, we're good, we're in the middle, but we're not there. And we see all the teams that are in the playoffs right now, they have those type of guys that can carry the team. And I like Callahan as a hire, though. I will say that. I don't think the the Titans made a bad hire. I like the hire, and it's when I look at the landscape of this, football, the whole thing, the teams that still have coaches, I mean, I think they're all waiting for Harbaugh, and once Harbaugh decides what he's going to do, then we'll start seeing the dominoes. But he's the lead domino, and he has to fall first before everybody else goes.
Who falls next, Vrabel or Belichick?
I think it's all preference. I think if you're hiring Bill Belichick, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones is the king, so he's not going to let somebody else come in. I know he had Bill Parcells, and Belichick is a protege of the Parcells tree, but when you go there, Belichick, that's a lot. You're saying, hey, you don't want to be part. You own the team, but you're going to let him do what he wants. He's going to be in charge of personnel. He's going to be in charge of the napkins in the cafeteria. He's going to be charged. I mean, everything. Vice versa, I don't know if Vrabel, carries that kind of baggage, if you will. So I think it's just a matter of a fit for an organization that wants to have a GM and player personnel have a substantial voice in what the decisions are made on the roster and all those type of maneuvers. And I think if you're a franchise that's just saying, you know what, we're confident in Bill Belichick, where he's at, and we want him to be the guy that he is, because he's carved him out. He's established himself as such a Nostradamus. He's Bill Belichick, and it's going to be hard for him to go anywhere where you're going to have anybody talk to him, and that's why he left New England. You couldn't take anything away from Bill Belichick and expect that to run normal, because he is. I mean, just hypothetically, if they hired one of us, how are we going to walk down the hall, knock on Bill's door, and say, hey, Bill, this is what we're going to do today? You're like, it's just not going to fly. So I think that's the next hire, that franchise, if they hire Bill, they're saying, hey, you know what? You got the keys to the car. If Vrabel goes there, just say the other team, then it's going to be, hey, we're just going to steal what we have our scouting department, we have our front office, you're the coach, this is how we're going to do things, and we'll go from there. And I think that's how you're going to find out where these guys land. I think that's what you're going to see when these guys eventually get their hires.
Bo, I was looking at a couple of things for next year, for 2024, and we don't have the dates yet for the NFL schedule. That's going to be a May release, but we know the opponents, and we know next year is the year that the NFC gets 9 home games, and they have to go on the road 8 times. And I wanted to see this. The Falcons do not meet New England anywhere in the regular season next year.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think that they all that. Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about, I guess. But I don't know how that works in terms of the schedule. But who knows? The NFL's they spend a lot of time working on that schedule.
And here's another one. Here's another one. Next year, again, 9 home games. The Detroit Lions, who we'll talk a lot about here in a bit for this week, and could be talking a lot about over the offseason if they got to and won a Super Bowl, they will play 9 games at home at Ford Field in a dome. On the road, they only play outdoors next year 3 times. They play indoors at Arizona, indoors at Houston, Indianapolis, Minnesota, and Dallas. They only go outside next year at Chicago, Green Bay, and San Francisco. If they got a scheduling break and got one of the 2, Chicago or Green Bay, early, I don't think they'd have extreme cold in San Francisco. They would have the potential of one rotten weather game all year.
That's doing your homework. Yeah, that's a good fit. I mean, you kind of think of the Dallas Cowboys and how good they are at home and in the dome and whatnot. I mean, that certain teams just thrive in that type of atmosphere, and vice versa. Some teams
golf
thrive
does
in the outdoors. So, I put it this way. I mean, when it all comes down, and remember the Lions were on the cusp of a playoff appearance last year. They just missed out. We know they had a great, and Campbell's turned it around, and we know how, they could end up winning it all. But, that schedule's going to be a little different next year. You're going to have a harder schedule. Those opponents, where instead of playing the weakest team, you might be playing the Chiefs again and whatnot. So, we'll see how that works for them. And then if that does come to fruition and they have those home games, I mean, the schedule's a schedule. When the playoffs start next year, then who knows? I mean, they could be traveling to Green Bay. We don't know how the season's going to play out next year.
That's right.
They could be going to Chicago, and now you're in the Windy City, and all those dome games, they actually were the worst thing for you. But if you're able to stay where you are, it definitely helps you. But I'm a football diehard. I cringe. I saw people complaining that Buffalo's new stadium's coming up and it's not a dome. Listen, there's more games canceled because of hurricanes and snowstorms, and nobody's complaining about living in the South. So just let the stadiums be uncovered. Let them play in the outdoors.
Talking to Bo Marchant, who joins us every week to talk the NFL. And speaking of the Bills, they fall over the weekend at home to the Chiefs. One of really a super thrilling game to watch, but the Chiefs, a 3-point win. A lot has been made of what the Bills did special teams-wise. They missed a field goal. They go for it on fourth down with a fake punt. What was your biggest takeaway from that game between the Chiefs and the Bills?
Brian, my biggest takeaway is the Chiefs are just a better team.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart to say it like that. And what it reminds us, when I was growing up, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a dominant team with Price and Doherty and Nance. I mean, and back then 50 wins was like the milestone. The Lakers, Celtics, 55 wins. I mean, that was the creme de la creme. And they were right there. But there was some guy that lived in Chicago. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He played for the Bulls. And no matter how good the Cavaliers were, that guy from Chicago
break their hearts.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? Do we not call that guy from Chicago the greatest we ever seen?
Sure do.
Yeah.
And I think the guy that reigns in Kansas City, he's kind of has that same MO as, he's one of the best, if not the best we've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly because he's magical. And it's one of those things. It's unfortunate that Buffalo has always had to face him at those particular times. I know the Bengals took him out last year, but they were going through a lot with what happened in Cincinnati with Hamlin. But they come back and listen. Even if they make the field goal, it's a tied game, and you're giving Mahomes $149 to go down the field to kick a field goal. They couldn't stop him. And, they were fortunate the ball went out of bounds. The fake punt, they did it, and then the ball goes in the end zone, they get the ball back. So no harm, no foul. Then they take the ball down, they miss the field goal. So I don't really know. The one thing, and I don't want to take anything away from the Bills, but the one thing I knew, and at least they've come to every time that these two teams have played with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're a prize fight, but they deliver every single time. And that's, I think, the heart-aching part for a Bills fan is they haven't got past them in the playoffs because they both play so dynamic. I mean, all the games all weekend, the only game I was really said, listen, I don't care what happens this weekend. I mean, I watched all the games, but if there's one game, if I can watch one, I'm watching Allen and Mahomes because they always show up. You know what you're getting. There's going to be no surprises. Nobody's going to get crushed. Nobody's going to play bad. They're going to be right there at the end. Last team to have the football. And and for the Bills, it's one of those things. You don't have Mahomes and Josh Allen's great. And that's the only thing I can say is sometimes, and it hurts, sometimes somebody's just better than you, the team's better than you, and that's just the way it is. Right?
It is. And that is sadly the sometimes the really bad side of sports for if you're a fan of the team on the wrong side of that. You're right about ask Craig Elo about number 23 if you don't think he was great. Bo Marchant, we were talking earlier about the quarterbacks taken in the draft the year Brock Purdy ended up being Mr. Irrelevant, number 262, the last player taken in the draft. He didn't get any parade, but at 251 in that draft, the Kansas City Chiefs took Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, I saw him at the Shrine game, and I wish I could say I thought he would become the guy that we see. He wasn't running like that at the Shrine game. I could tell you that. We were out in Vegas because, but he is just pound for pound, just an animal. Every carry is just a violent run. He's an angry runner. He's an energizer. He's a tempo setter. He's everything you want when you hand it off to the ball back. So, he's great. And the best part about all that, Purdy and all these guys is, it's just, you get slotted into these, it's a microcosm of, I think, everything that's wrong with the way everything's set up with the draft. Because there's a narrative and everybody just kind of follows along and they're just going to be slotted in those positions. I mean, I just think about the Steelers and Mason Rudolph and Pickett and Trubisky. Trubisky was a high round pick and Kenny was a first round pick and Rudolph was a third round pick. So your pedigree, you're a third round pick. So we don't even have the confidence in you, and you could just see it through the landscape, and you got to build up toward. And I joke so many times, like Dak. If Dak was a first round pick, there would have never been a hesitation once. for the Cowboys to give him an extension. We saw it with Kirk Cousins. Robert, Griffin III was the first-round pick. Kirk Cousins the fourth-round pick. And they were reluctant. That's why he was on the franchise tag so long. They just couldn't comprehend giving a guy that late the money. If Kirk Cousins was a first-round pick, they were like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, you come with everything we wanted to see all the time, and they believe in you. And it's just funny, even at the level, even after you prove it, they always kind of go back, I guess, to your resume. And I think that draft number is good. And listen, these guys, if any personnel is listening, they could be shaking their head going, this guy's goofy. But until they start doing it a different way, you got to think this is the way they do it.
No, you're right about that. I'm curious, that first game of the weekend, Texans and Ravens, it was a back-and-forth game early, but then after half, the Ravens came out and really gave it to the Texans. It looked like a team that's had a week off and has been sitting around and then just kind of needed that first half to warm up and then really showed all their guns in the second half. What did you make of the Ravens and what they can do now going forward? And then on the other side, the Texans, I know a lot of people now are talking about the Ravens because they're still alive, but it's hard to take away what a building block of a season this has been for DeMeco Ryans, C.J. Stroud, and the rest of that team.
Oh, 4-13 a year ago, and now you win the AFC South. You found the quarterback of the future. It's just a fabulous story, and it's just crazy to think that. I know I wouldn't have said, hey, next year we're going to be talking about the Texans as division winner. We thought maybe it would have took a few years to knock Trevor Lawrence off the mantle. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if Trevor even was able to even get on the mantle, really. It's kind of like, wow, look at the AFC South now. The Baltimore Ravens showed up, and I'm not saying, granted, I got no dog in the fight, but, for the Ravens to be who they are and how well they are under Harbaugh, it would have been maybe like you would almost question yourself and your fandom, like, wow, I really thought the Ravens were the cream of the crop, and they lose to the Texans. But that 10-10 tie got broken, and then you kind of stall. The Ravens flexed their muscle, and they were just able to do their thing. And they're just a more experienced, better football team. And maybe 5 years from now, when Lamar's not, 5 years from now, and Stroud's at his peak, and Lamar's fading and all that stuff, then maybe the Texans are the team to beat. So. That was just a wily veteran of a team, best team in the league type thing against an up and comer looking to find their way. They're happy to be in the fight, and they put up a good fight, and they're going to be ready. I think Will Anderson even said, the best is, not, he didn't say that, but he just said basically, so roundabout way is, wait till we see what we do next year. So they're excited down there. DeMeco Ryans, fantastic job. So much to be happy about. Just having that franchise turned around, and they have Stroud. They have a quarterback, and it just goes back to, if you can find that guy under center that can move the needle, the franchise has no limitations.
Yeah. A week from today, who are we talking about in Super Bowl 58?
I picked the 49ers to win it, so I got to stick with them, and I got to stick with Mahomes. He's just kind of like that gunslinger. Until I see him, ousted, I got to stick with them. And Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. That's a tough team. I'm excited for both games. I think the tenacity of Dan Campbell and the genius of Kyle Shanahan's going to make that fun. And then I think that you got Lamar Jackson looking to prove his point, make a playoff stance. And that's one. And go back real quick on the Texans game. We talk about Lamar MVP. If they lose that game, then people are talking about the Ravens. They gave him a contract, and they shouldn't have. Lamar Jackson's spectacular. He is super. So I'm excited about that game, and like the NFC Championship. We got Purdy and Goff. Those are. I think we all know that those guys aren't on the level of the AFC quarterbacks. They're great quarterbacks. But there's different teams, But when on AFC side, it's going to be fun watching Jackson and Mahomes get after it. And I think on the NFC side, you just have different teams, a lot of different ways those teams can win. So I think at the end of the day, 49ers and Chiefs. And since I picked the 49ers way back in August or September when we did the show, I don't know why I could do that. But I can't pick the Bills anymore.
Wow, it would be crazy after kind of what everyone's been saying about the Chiefs. That offense ain't good. They don't have any
receivers. They played a few years ago, and the Niners had them. If Garoppolo can make one more throw,
he can. The one thing, and it occurred to me while I was watching the game, and I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up, was I know we know that's Andy Reid's team, and that's his offense, and he's a master at. But they did lose Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
And there has to be some, and that was something that was never said. I know I gave you the stats on Mahomes and his completions and his yards. They're nearly identical to last season because everyone talked about drop passes. We see the emergence of Rashee Rice, the rookie from SMU. I mean, you can't, he's coming, and we see him now. He's a critical factor in that offense. Kelsey had the 2 touchdowns. So it's a matter of just them learning. I do think there had to be just a little bit slight adjustment of the Chiefs getting acclimated to not having Eric Bieniemy. And, we talk about, look at the Eagles. They lost both their coordinators last year. Mm-hmm. They lost both their coordinators this year. There's some change. Just like we all have our everyday work environment. Something changes. It does throw you off a little bit. You're going to get acclimated and you're going to get adjusted, but it does take time. And when you're playing professional sports, that adjustment has to be kind of made on the fly. And you really don't know. You can spend all day in, summer practicing, but when when it gets real and it's live action, it's a different kind of animal. So I think that's the one thing. Bieniemy not being there had to be some adjustment, especially for that offense, because that's one of the best offenses we've seen in the last decade.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And this weekend should be a lot of fun with these conference championship games. But Bo, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Hey, you guys are the best. Stay safe.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.
Bo Marchionte joins us every single week to talk the NFL. And before we go to a break, I got to tell you about our friends over at Hewlett and Dunn, Boot and Jean on the Historic Square in Carville. They've been there since 1961, and they sponsor our 5 o'clock hour every single afternoon. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, they own the place, known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team in any season. They've got Western wear, but they've also got all the boots, work boots, safety toe, soft toe, rubber boots for every single occasion. You can find them at Hewlett and Dunn. And from head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable, whether it's Ariat, Dan Post, Anderson Bean, and whether it's for men or women, they've got it. And so many different clothing options like jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duck head collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street on the square in Carterville or to their website, hewlettdunn.com. And if you're in need for accessories, they've got you covered with that as well. Hats, sunglasses, boot care products, and every area team snapback or cool hat you can think of, whether it's the Tigers, Mississippi State, UT, Ole Miss, or the Razorbacks. And for travel, their bag selection is top notch. hewlettdunn.com, but please head out to Carterville, give them a visit, and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Carterville at Hewlett and Dunn. Well, we need to get to a break, but we got a lot to talk about on the other side. The Hall of Famers have been announced in Major League Baseball. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks have made a change at head coach. We'll talk about that next during What's Trending.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your home still not warm enough or running out of hot water? Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, and we've got exciting news for you. Introducing Choate's Carrier Repair Buyback Program. If you've had HVAC or water heater repairs in the past year, you're in luck. Choate's will credit your repair costs up to $1,500 with a brand new HVAC or tankless water heater system. Yep, you heard right. Just bring your repair invoice from the last 365 days and get ready to upgrade your home's comfort. Say goodbye to those chilly nights and inconsistent heating. Choate's has you covered with various low-payment financing plans, making your upgrade more affordable than ever. Imagine a more efficient and reliable system keeping your family cozy all winter long. And here's the best part. This offer is a substantial boost towards a state-of-the-art heating solution. Ready to take the next step? Schedule your free estimate by calling 347-8086. And remember, turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7 passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $34.49 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722.812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242,710, MSRP 33,010, Telluride RG 46,2822, MSRP 38,705. Concludes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
From brilliant to beautiful, we've heard lots of words used to describe the Sissy's Log Cabin experience, but we think one sums it up best: extraordinary. Here, you'll find an unparalleled selection, impeccable service, and an experience that makes you feel like family. Shop online at sissyslogcabin.com or stop by one of our 6 locations. Find your trusted jeweler for a lifetime only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Times. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show. A lot to get to during the segment. I want to talk about the Bucks and the change they made earlier today, but we do have some breaking news. We have the names that have been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. We talked about it earlier. We knew we would be getting it about 5 o'clock. And the names are in: Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton. Those are the 3 names that will be a part of the class of 2024. And I am really, really happy for this group of guys.
I like this group. I hate it for Billy Wagner, who fell just heartbreakingly close. I suspect he will get in next year, which is kind of the oddity of this. If he's good enough to be in next year, then put him in this year.
Right.
You know, why make him do that?
What's changing in a year?
Yeah, he's not going out there and locking down a save next year.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't. The 5th, Adrian Beltre, the 5th Dominican-born player to enter the Hall of Fame: Juan Marichal, Pedro Martinez, Vladimir Guerrero, and Big Papi. That's a list, isn't it? I know the DR. They are proud and should be. And Beltre was the guy that had the phobia or whatever.
Don't touch his head.
Don't touch his head. Don't pat him on the head. Brian, it's something every year I say about football. Quit slapping people on the head congratulatory. That's a penalty if you do it in the game.
Yeah.
Why do it on the sideline?
Good question. I don't know, but that was his thing. And when he was with the Rangers, all his teammates would have fun with it and act like they were going to touch his head, and it'd freak him out.
Oh, he would jump. He'd jump mad over it.
Very mad.
Todd Helton, the former Tennessee quarterback, and Joe Mauer, who could have been a college quarterback, he's in. I got to tell my Todd Helton story.
Okay.
So I am just stringing games, covering games, and I'm in Atlanta on a Friday night and go to Rockies. This is in the 97 year.
Okay.
And they called up Helton at the end of that year, kind of for September. and I'm at a Rockies-Braves game at Ted Turner Field. And the next morning, getting up from going to leave Atlanta and drive and cover Auburn and Ole Miss. So I wasn't working for Ole Miss then. But anyway, so that Friday night, got credentialed and and asked the Rockies PR guy, and he was a legendary, great guy. If I could have some time with Todd Helton, and we're visiting a lot of football talk.
Sure.
And so this is in '97. Peyton Manning's quarterback at Tennessee, and famously was a freshman quarterback with Helton the year all the quarterbacks got hurt and Peyton was pressed into duty. And I didn't realize then, but they are now big friends.
Oh wow.
I'm not saying it's the reason Peyton lives in the Denver area. He lives there because they fell in love with him when he played for the Broncos.
Right.
But he loves Todd Helton. They are
Really?
big
Wow.
buds. So I got the recorder going, in an old recorder too, Brian.
Oh man, I love it.
You'd love the technology. And that thing was about as big as a bowling ball.
I believe
And we're rolling, and I asked him, because he had played also with Heath Schuler at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I said, compare Heath Schuler and Peyton Manning. When he goes off, just drills Heath Schuler.
Holy cow.
And a lot of the questions around Heath Schuler was his football acumen, how smart he was.
Yeah.
And he went there. And just on the mic, I had, the on-off button, and I turned it off. I said, this is rolling, and that I'm going to use this. He said, turn it back on. And I turned it back, and he crushed. Now, he crushed him in and of himself,
Right.
but was also saying, you hadn't seen a football mind ever like Peyton Manning's.
Wow.
This is a person of extraordinary football intellect.
Wow.
And just sheer keen intellect.
Yeah.
So years later, fast forward to summer of 2011, I'm at Busch Stadium. Early August, in fact, the Colts are in town to play the Rams in a preseason game. Mm-hmm. And all you're really getting out of the Manning camp and out of the Colts camp is, Peyton's got some, issues with his neck and, might be an opening day decision. Well, I go in the Rockies clubhouse, and Peyton Manning's there. He's there in town with the Colts to play like the next night, and he's there, and we visit big. And then when he got up to shake my hand, he looked 80 years old, getting up and very labored, neck very stiff. And I texted a good friend of his in Memphis, and I said, all right, come clean about Peyton's neck injury. There ain't a prayer he's playing in 4 more weeks. He said, oh, yeah, there's no doubt he's shut down for the year. And Peyton even said, you didn't see me today.
Yeah, no, this never happened. Wow, that's
but
good
but
story.
I knew then. I said, oh my goodness, he may be through.
Holy cow!
But Todd Helton in, and the whole Coors Field stuff. Look, he didn't make it on home runs. He made it being a gap hitter. Now the gaps are large at Coors Field. There's no doubt, but he's still got to find grass.
That's right, and he shouldn't be penalized for the ballpark he's playing in.
I never thought he should be. I thought it was ridiculous with Larry Walker.
Yeah.
All those years, and I'm glad he's in.
I am too.
VFL, Ball for Life, Todd Helton.
That's right. I've already seen Tennessee baseball and Tennessee athletics posting that he's in. So
and they should.
But no, Adrian Beltre, one of my favorite players growing up.
With your Rangers in 2011.
That's right. I love
before you became a Cardinal fan, and the Cardinals broke your heart.
It broke my heart, and then it took a couple of years, and then finally I was like, "What the heck?"
It's kind of like us bringing Johnny along as a Cardinal fan.
That's right. It's going to happen. Maybe it'll take some heartbreak to get there. But it's all those tears.
We don't need to hear free agency status, Johnny.
No. We know you're a free agent.
Hey, I'm willing to commit to y'all. Y'all making it looking very good, man. I love it, man. I'm thinking about it.
Can I offer you a young outfielder and a young shortstop that might drop pop flies and go on hitless streaks, but are young and fun? How about that?
Get Gary Sheffield close today in the vote.
Yeah,
he's Hall of Famer.
I think so.
I can't find Chase Utley. Is he?
Oh, good Lord. I need to find
He may get more votes tonight in New Hampshire than he did for the Hall of Fame.
He might.
I can't find Utley anywhere.
Oh, no, I can't find Utley. Utley got 28.8%.
Oh, he got a long way to go then.
Yeah, it's going to be some time.
Yeah.
I hate that.
And he's not playing any more games either.
No.
shortstop, second base combo. Rollins, Utley. That was big time.
Oh, man.
That was fun to go watch and play.
Man. That was a good duo. You're right. Oh, man, I hate that he didn't get
I caught
far.
the Phillies a bunch in that stretch in St.
Really?
Louis. Yeah, caught them shutting. I want to say my last game at Old Busch Stadium was the Cubs, but I saw them the last year of Old Busch Stadium. I can tell you when it was. It was second day, not opening day, but second day of the year. And I went up that weekend and then caught them again later that year, and then caught them a couple of times at New Busch Stadium, and loved seeing Rollins and Utley.
Oh, yeah, man, they were so much fun to watch. I never saw them in person, but I mean, watching them on television.
And Billy Wagner, he was with those Astros teams when Cardinal fans like me hated them.
Yep. But no, I like these three, and I'm glad they're getting in. And a lot of those guys will be waiting another year to see if maybe next year could be the year.
I don't know that he still does or doesn't, but I think it would be funny because he was famous for it. During Jim Leland's speech, just crank out a big old Marlboro Red right up there on the stage.
That'd be great. Oh, that'd be awesome. I don't know if we'll see it, but that'd be fun if we did.
I don't know if you could pull out a cigarette around sports.
Probably not. No, it is certainly a different time. That's for sure. Brett, before we get to a break here, I am curious. Earlier today, we got the news the Bucks have fired head coach Adrian Griffin.
No, Giannis Antetokounmpo fired Adrian Griffin today.
Yes, rephrase that. Only 43 games into his first year with the Bucks. And now it looks like Doc Rivers is the kind of favorite to take over in Milwaukee.
Boy, Doc has had the jobs and has never closed the deal anywhere.
Yeah, no,
anywhere. Been close.
Yeah.
That Doc won it with the Celtics. Doc won it with the Celtics.
Yeah.
So let me correct that. Mm-hmm. But that team, you couldn't help but win it with him. This may be the same thing in Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, it could be. But, I mean, this has
been... he won it with Pierce, Garnett, and company.
This has been something that has been the kind of disconnect between Adrian Griffin and Giannis has been building for some time. I always think back to, I guess, a month ago now at this point, where Giannis kind of lost his head in the locker room, where he's saying it starts with everybody. I mean, everybody's doing a poor job. It starts with the guy who washes our clothes. He has to do a better job washing our clothes. And I was like, oh, there's something bigger going on here.
If you're mad over the clothes being washed, you're mad over a lot of things.
Yes, mad over. There's bigger issues there that you just don't want to talk about. But I was surprised when I saw that earlier.
And it sure has happened a lot in sports, not just the NBA. Magic Johnson, early in his career, famously had a guy out in Los Angeles. Michael Jordan went through 2 or 3 in Chicago before they got to Phil Jackson.
Yeah, no.
I know he got Doug Collins, and I'm pretty sure he got Kevin Lowry.
Yeah.
There's one more in there in Chicago. Maybe Stan Albeck, somebody. Maybe. But it was awkward for a few years before landing on Phil Jackson, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Phil Jackson worked out real nicely. But, I think with Giannis, you got that superstar in Milwaukee. You've got a team that's ready to compete. And, defensively, they have not been very good. That offense speaks for itself. But defensively, they've really, really struggled this year. And that's something that's got to get better if they want to be an NBA champion.
Yeah, Magic got a coach early, and they ended up hiring Pat Riley.
Yeah.
I think Paul Westhead maybe.
Yes, I mean it happens. This isn't something.
Now, they won it with Paul Westhead. There was somebody before Paul Westhead that got crossways with Magic, and it's pretty easy for Jerry Buss. I mean, you gonna get rid of Magic Johnson, or you gonna get rid of? I looked up Jack McKinney.
Jack McKinney.
Pretty simple. Jack's got to go.
Yeah, somebody's got to go, and it's not going to be our star player. And that seems like what just happened in Milwaukee. One of y'all has to go, and it's sure not going to be Giannis. So.
Have we heard from Jack since then? I don't know if we have.
I don't think so. No.
Somebody check on Jack. I know we're all glad. Look, at least we're not having trouble driving. Be careful in the rain, though. It's going to be a challenging night driving home for everybody, but much better than last week. And I know people are starting to plan their big game party. Keep Jason's Deli in mind for any of that, whether it's 5 or 5,000 for your party, whatever occasion, they bring more to the table. It's a family thing, a variety of delicious choices for all three meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For $5 or $5,000, check out the most popular choices they have. You can go online to jasonsdeli.com and find out more about that. Same day, last minute orders are welcomed. If you're having any kind of event, you don't think you've got it handled just right, turn it over to them. Let them take over. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing. All the soups that carried us through last week, it felt like the fire roasted tortilla, the Texas style chili, the basic chicken noodle soup, also good last week when we needed to stay warm, whether it's a cup or bowl. The salads, the nutty mix-up salad, the chicken Caesar salad, my favorite, the taco salad, or the salad bar that's in every location with over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare it however you would like it. Ridgeway Road at Poplar and Highland, Cordova, and in Olive Branch. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and it's all about choice at Jason's Deli with over 200 Memphis area associates to take care of you. Regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu or vegetarian sandwiches, they've got you covered. Plenty of organic food to choose from, and again, catering anytime, anywhere. Complimentary free ice cream at every location, in Olive Branch, in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and at Ridgeway Road across from MUS. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Let's get to our final break of the day. On the other side, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
What's wrong? You look bereft.
I am bereft.
What is it?
Well, there's only 3 Central Barbecue locations. The original Central Barbecue on Central, it's closed.
Oh, don't worry, little buckaroo. The location on Central will be back before you know it and better than ever. Now, there's still the location on Summer. You love that one, right?
Yeah.
And there's still the Central Barbecue downtown and the Central Barbecue on Poplar. You love those too, right?
I do love those.
So you could go to those, and then when Central Barbecue on Central reopens, it'll be like Christmas, but with pork.
I feel better already.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
this is pretty cool, and we're just getting started. So.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye, Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, this was over in the Daily Memphian today. Parth wrote about it. Jeff Goodman has a hot take on this Tiger basketball team. Jeff Goodman, national college basketball analyst, now does a lot of work with his own company, The Field of 68, hosts their podcast that they do every night after the games. And last night, he had a hot take saying that he does not think the Memphis Tigers, who are ranked 19th in the country right now, will make the NCAA tournament this season. That was his hot take from last night. This was a quote from him on the Field of 68 after dark last night. Quote, Memphis was off to an unbelievable start, and now they've lost 2 in a row. An embarrassing one that they lost at home to South Florida, in which they were up 20, and then they come back and they lose to Tulane. Their wins aren't very impressive right now. Not a lot of substance to their resume. I mean, Michigan and Arkansas on a neutral court, that looked good a month and a half ago. That Texas A&M win looked great at the time. Now it looks okay. And Virginia at home. I mean, honestly, you're talking 3 of those teams probably aren't NCAA tournament teams as of today. That's what he had to say after saying that he doesn't think this Tiger team will make the NCAA tournament. I just think it's wild, Brett, that we have gotten from the point of this team could be the team to look out for in March to national college basketball media members saying this team might not even make the tournament.
It's the fork in the road that we have discussed, and I think we're there. You tell me. We'll decide this programming right here over there for everybody to see the dirty laundry.
All right.
Later this week, no game till Sunday.
Yeah.
You want to do wins and losses over there for the next 12?
Why not? Sure. I'll do it.
I'm afraid I'm not going to make many friends. I'm with Jeff Goodman.
Whoa, Brett. Barking Crow put out their latest NIT bracketology.
I don't want to hear it. I don't hear it. I can't take it. I can't take any Barking Crow. In fact, I'll call my shot now. I'll fire this warning shot now. There shouldn't be any acceptance of NIT bid.
Wow. I mean, it would be certainly, we would be having some way different conversations if that happens.
I texted Dave thanking him for joining us, and we texted back and forth on a couple other things. I'll just tell my side of what I sent to him. I texted to him I have 4 more losses in conference.
Wow, 4 more.
What I learned today, Brian Callahan, the new coach of the Tennessee Titans, ran Carthon, wanted his guy, and he got him. Mike Vrabel out, Brian Callahan in. Will it work? Time will tell. And they could look up. Mike Vrabel could really make them pay for years like Belichick did in Cleveland. The son of Bill Callahan, who led the Raiders to their last Super Bowl appearance, a loss to Tampa Bay.
I like that hire for the Titans. Seems like a lot of people in Nashville like it, so I'll trust them on it, and maybe it works out for them. Brett, what I could have done without today, I hated seeing this news. Uga 10 passed away this morning. What a life! I mean, this
good dog, damn good dog.
Hey, yeah, damn good dog, that's right. This dog has lived a better life in terms of sports than most human beings. I mean, this was from the Georgia Bulldogs Athletics Twitter. one of the most decorated of all the Bulldog mascots. He compiled a football record of 91-18, presided over 2 SEC titles, the 2021 and 2022 College Football Playoffs National Championships, and 7 New Year's Six Bowl appearances. Also, was almost attacked by Bevo the Longhorn.
Really did, in an unwarranted attack that he took out after Bevo. Could have done without all the drama, with all the big babies in Dallas, tweets, Insta attacks, airing it all out in public. Micah Parsons, he's talking about wanting the 49ers next year. He better get his brother to be quiet.
Oh, man.
Did the Cowboys really think they were going to go to the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
Well, Brett, I don't want to say I did, but I got caught up in it. I don't know.
But you're a fan. Did they in the locker room?
The team itself. Nah, it's a good question. It's a really good question. But there's a lot of family members for this Cowboys team that they need to quiet down a little bit. They're talking a little too much. Micah Parsons' brother being one of them. But Micah Parsons, he talks a lot himself and has a podcast to do it. So that doesn't really shock me. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to 14-3 Kentucky against 15-3 South Carolina. In Kentucky, they really are everybody's Super Bowl, and it was very much like it was in 07 and 08 here when John Calipari was here, and people are still trying to tap into that. It's just not the case. The building has been sad too often, and at too many games, and no Sweet 16 since 2009. That's just where we are 15 years later.
Crazy. 15 years. Good Lord. That's a really good game tonight, getting kicked off here in a couple minutes. I'll beam later tonight. How about this, Brett? 4th-ranked Houston on the road against 21st-ranked BYU. 2 new additions to the Big 12 now playing each other in a conference game. Houston's already dropped a couple in conference, and now look to see what they can do on the road against a good and really impressive BYU team this year.
Tonight in the AAC, UAB at Charlotte. Charlotte's 102 net. UAB's 154.
Wow.
The AAC is not any better. And if FAU slips and the Tiger slips, this is going to be a one-bid league. Yeah. In every bracketology, it's going to be a one-bid league. Late tonight, Lakers and Clippers. Lakers 22-22. Just like they were after 44 last year.
Wow, that could have been your big number today, Brett. That's good stuff. 32 college basketball games tonight. Only 5 NBA games tonight. A limited slate, but 2 TNT games, like Brett mentioned, the late night one, Lakers and Clippers. The first one on TNT at 6:30, Knicks and Nets. So it should be a good night of basketball, but that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.